Hello! What's up, everybody? You are watching TTV, and today we have my lovely friend Noor here to talk with us about a lot of different topics all over the realm. We're going to talk about an upcoming TV show. We should all look out for it. We're going to talk a little bit about spirituality. We're going to talk a little bit about careers and what brought you to like screenwriting, and also I know you're auditioning. Also, you have YouTube. So, just what brought you to all of those things? And Nora, I know this is their first time streaming with me. So, first of all, thank you for taking the time out. Second, people will join over time. It really just depends on the day and the time. But I know this is semi like an active time. And when they do, like they will comment. You should be able to see them. People's messages, responses to your topics. But for now, it's just you and me.
That's
I know you
exciting.
were asking me this earlier, but how are you today, really? Like physically, mentally, all the things. Like, how are you doing?
I am so good. I just did an audition for a Starbucks commercial and it went
Ooh.
really well. The auditioner really vibes with us.
Oh,
So,
hi, Weinstein. Oh, that's so cool.
yeah,
So
so
we
I'm
can see
up
you on
there.
our Starbucks commercial next time on the screen. Like, I know her. Nor.
I just finished shooting a T-Mobile commercial.
Wow.
Yeah,
So you're booked and busy.
I'm getting booked and busy.
How do you even like find the like how do you even know where to go?
Well, it's casting agencies, so LA Casting. And then
Okay.
my friends actually go search for group castings. And if they find something big like Starbucks or T-Mobile, they're like, okay, everyone, let's audition and just get all together and ready. And yeah,
Oh, that's so cool.
yeah, it's a vibe.
Well, good. I'm proud of you. Good for you. Okay, nice. Meinstein is a chess master, or him and I have played chess a little bit. You're in Germany?
I'm in California. I'm in SoCal.
I think the Meinstein's in.
Oh, mine streams from Germany.
Mhm.
Hello
And you're
from
going to the
California.
Bay Area tomorrow, right? What
Yeah.
for? Just for fun, just to travel?
No, it's my friend's wedding.
Oh, Austria. The Meinstein's from Austria, and you're going to a wedding.
Yes.
Oh, congratulations to your friend.
Yeah, I'm
Love
excited.
is really there.
It's yeah, I'm preparing for dances for her wedding because like Indian Pakistani weddings, we have this function called the henna. Do you know what henna is?
Like that's
The-
not the
It's like the design you put on your hands.
yeah.
And so it actually came from Africa. It came from Africa upwards into like the Middle East. And then the Persians brought it to India. And it's become like a wedding tradition to, have a really big, like boisterous function, put mehndi on our hands. It's called mehndi in Urdu, and dance. And so I'm practicing the dances. I'm the best dancer, so I'm like in control of like everyone's moves. And so I have a lot of stress. I'm like, oh my God, has to be perfect. But yeah, I love dancing. I've been dancing since I was 11 years old.
Wow. What type of dance? Like
Everything.
contemporary?
I think I started with hip like belly dancing because I saw Shakira dance and I was like, "Oh my God, that I want to do that," you know? And so it was inspired by Shakira, but belly dancing is so intense that, I was able to move into like hip hop. Hip hop and belly dance translate well into each other because it makes sense that hip hop comes from belly dancing because belly dancing was so his like it was practiced in like Egypt, for example, and so the entire area, is really accustomed to belly dance, and so it makes sense that like African American culture has now translated into hip hop. So like, a lot of those moves, they go into each other.
That's so cool. I didn't know that, but as you're describing it, from
It
what
makes
I've
sense.
seen of the
Yeah,
both of them, like it does make sense. Like the movements seem like cousins to each other almost.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Or it's
Oh,
sort and there's another one. So example, the azan. You're from Nigeria, right, Sachi?
yeah.
Have you heard the azan in Nigeria? It's an
No,
Islamic call to prayer. It's
I have
really
not.
loud. But you probably live in like the Christian parts of Nigeria, right? So if you travel to like the Muslim parts of Nigeria, you'll always hear the azan. And Bible music in
Mhm.
America has its origins in the azan, like the rhythms of it, like the vocal rhythms. So after this, go listen to the azan, put like an African azan on, and you'll hear the vocal rhythms because the first person to give the azan was a black man named Bilal. And so
Oh,
that's why a lot of African people have adopted the Islamic culture because the first convert was a black man. Yeah.
after this, I'm definitely gonna go through and listen because I've
I,
never heard that before.
I studied West African history, so I know.
Was that your major? No.
My major was history.
Okay.
And UCLA just had a great department in African history, and I needed to get certain classes done to graduate in history, and
Okay.
all the African classes were open. And since I already had previous knowledge in African history, I just, it was easy. It was, and I love African history. It's so cool. It's where we all came from. It's like, why wouldn't I gravitate towards that?
I feel that. I got a global studies minor just because I felt like I had never learned any African history or like South American history. I feel like those two are just always like, and the Middle East, except for like specific parts in history, like all of those, we only hear like very specific segments of their histories, but never like the full picture of how.
Detailed, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm that's so cool though. I definitely wish I had spent more time in UCLA's AM department, but that's cool that you did though.
I love history. Oh my gosh, it's my favorite subject.
So then, being a history major, right? How did you get introduced to, I guess, like what I would call like your career right now, like screenwriting and auditioning, and how did that like transition over?
So I grew up in entertainment. My mom was a film director when I was a child, and
Wow.
I was the eldest in my family, and so none of my siblings had the same experience as me as being on set or being at a fashion show or I was always with my mom because I did not like going to the babysitter. So my mom was forced to take me to these like really crazy sets, and I'd be sitting there really quietly, which is honestly tough to get me quiet when I was that small. And, when I was 4, that's when it sort of inside of me, I was like, "I wanna do this for a living," and my mom was so scared. She was like, "No, no, 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 no. Like, we want you to be a doctor." And my mom, you cannot believe this, my mom sought out the best math and science high school in the Bay Area.
Wow.
Elementary school, sorry. So first elementary school, junior high school, and then high school as the literally number 1. She even told me, she's like, "Yeah, I wanted you to go to a top school, and none of the private schools were taking me because I have dyslexia, and I couldn't read and write." So she had the greatest idea to send me to this psycho, like, math and science school where these students are like it was a public school, by the way, so you just had to live in the district of this part of Fremont, a very expensive district. You know MC Hammer, right?
Yeah, I've heard of it.
He went bankrupt in that neighborhood I lived in Fremont.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so then that sort of became the foundation of Barely Brown, which came to me when I was at UCLA. I realized after 7.5 years of being pre-med in my biology class at UCLA, I could not be a doctor because I didn't have the logical intelligence to carry me into the field. I knew I thought with more feeling and emotion. And
Hmm.
so obviously acting, it was the perfect, it's the perfect field for anyone who feels and is very creative. And so I started to pursue acting. And at the time, I was a journalist at the Daily Bruin, which I actually wasn't even going to apply for. I applied like 3 hours before the application was due.
Oh wow.
Yeah, I was literally in like the Young Sea Library. Do you know where I'm talking about? Near
Yeah.
Penn. I was all alone. This is like week 2 or 3. Everyone's partying. And I'm all alone in the library. And I'm like trying to get my Daily Bruin application done. And they accepted me, which I couldn't even believe because it was their most competitive application year to get into
Wow.
Daily Bruin. And I remember on my way to the orientation for Daily Bruin, I just in my heart, I was like, I know I'm gonna meet someone that went to my high school at at the orientation. And so I walk in, obviously I'm late, I'm the last person to walk in. There's one empty seat, and it was next to this Asian guy who's from Fremont, and he went to my high school. And so
Wow.
obviously, yeah, we talk about, my high school. So this is like October. And then throughout the year, I kept on meeting people that knew about my high school. Like every single person I met that was like Asian or Indian, they were like, "Oh, you went to mission. You're a mission student." And it was crazy. Like every single person knew about this high school, and they were like, "Yeah, we lost them to the quiz bowl," like super nerdy things. And then you wouldn't believe this. This is why I think it's destiny. Over the summer, the Big Bang Theory came to an end, and the Daily Bruin was invited to cover the event.
Wow.
And all the journalists at UCLA were gone. It's summer session, right?
Yeah.
And so I go because I came back from my cousin's bridal shower in Los Angeles, and I was literally driving them to Earth Cafe, and I get the notification on what's that? Well, I forgot the messaging system, but I got a notification, and I
Like
literally, like, as I'm driving, I'm like,
non-discrimination.
I'm going to the set of The Big Bang Theory." And yeah, I got confirmed to be the journalist that went, and I remember in the morning, there was a change of photographers, and you might think that this is not that big, but it's huge because the photographer who ended up going with me to the set of The Big Bang Theory, he was a foreign exchange student from India, and he knew all about my high school. He's from India.
Wow.
He knows about this high school in Fremont. And so we're talking about my high school for a good hour. And as I get to the Big Bang Theory set, and as Chuck Lorre is talking about the impact the Big Bang Theory had on the world, that's when it hit me. I have to make a show about my high school. And so I came up with the idea June 2019. I kept developing in my head July 2020. And I just felt like I kept getting signs from the universe to keep pushing me in that direction. And then I remember my friend who's a screenwriter, he has MFA in screenwriting at UCLA. I met him in the theater class there. I remember telling him about that idea. He loved the entire idea. He's like, "This is really strong." But then I told him about the concept of white supremacy and injecting that narrative into the show. And he was like, "I think that's a little complicated. I don't know how you're going to show this." But, like, I have my education in history, so I know all about like white supremacy and colonialism. And I know that into the T. And that was a huge problem at my high school. At this math and science high school was white supremacy because the entire student body was 95% Asian, and the teachers were all primarily white. And so there was this influence of, the white culture onto us, and us thinking that we're backwards. And we would impose those standards onto each other. And it was very toxic because not only was our parents pushing us to like get into these top schools, we had no value unless we went to a top 20 school. That's why I went to UCLA. Um,
I get
so
that.
and then there's also that cultural toxicity between our culture and then the white man's culture. And so, yeah, I came up with that idea, and I knew I had to do it. And I was very scared of pursuing the white supremacy narrative. And right as I was graduating from UCLA, Black Lives Matter protest happened. And that was the first time in about 60, 80 years that white supremacy came to the surface of conversation in America. Before, it was very hidden. No one was really talking about it. It was very mass. Like, we all knew it was there, but we were scared to talk about it. And now we're a lot more like, this is what really happened. And
Hmm.
so it was just a lot of signs. And as I started writing, I wrote the entire season and I showed it to a film counselor at UCLA. And he was like, "Okay, this is good stuff, but you need to restructure it." And so he put me in a class at UCLA Film that I'm taking right now to help me bring up the first episode to production standards. So, yeah, that's where I'm at right now. I'm waiting to. I actually finished Act 3 on Thursday.
Oh,
It's,
congratulations.
yeah, it's really exciting.
So it's been like a year, over, no, 2 years now that you've been working on this project,
Yeah,
which
since
is
June
fun.
2019.
Wow. That's awesome, though. I know that that's a very like culturally and socially dense project as well. Like it touches on a lot of different areas that we, I think, as a society are just like starting to scratch the surface of a genuine conversation about, which I definitely hear you on. And you covered so many. Like I wanted to ask like so many different questions about like the different, yeah, particularly like about cultural toxicity. That like phrase really caught my attention. Also, it seems like the Meinstein, you're going to bed because it is 1:45 a.m. in Austria. And so he says he wishes us a great stream. Thank you. The Meinstein, he also said, as somebody who's been a professional model, he wanted to tell you this. before you get started, you will get treated like shit as if people there own you. Do
Me,
you feel
I
like that's
know.
been your experience? Like people treat you kind of like shit right now?
No. My mom actually had that fear because she was
Okay.
treated badly, and so she had that fear that I would be treated badly in the industry, and wherever she takes me, it's sort of like, "Oh my god, she's a celebrity." Like, I went to New York Fashion Week with my mom, September 2019, and I'm entering the corridors of New York Fashion Week, and there's a bunch of paparazzi standing around, and one of the paparazzis was like, "Oh my god, she's so pretty," and he starts taking pictures of me, and a whole swarm, I'm talking about like 50 photographers, they start taking
Wow.
pictures of me, and my mom is like shook. She's like, "Oh my god, like what do I do? Like they're taking pictures of my daughter." And I'm just like there. I'm like, "Hi, I'm Noor."
Did it feel like intimidating or like a good thing, like overwhelming or like
I loved it. I if I'm being honest with you, I loved it. I was like, "This is what I'm born to do." And so I do think that's for some people's experiences, it's rough, 100%. It's a very rough industry. Um, but I think that, so far I love it. I haven't had a bad experience. I think I'm coming into the industry at a really good time where people are talking about misogyny at a, very great service. The Me Too movement happened. Um, and hopefully it's like this entire white supremacy issue that we're facing also, it's I see it becoming better and better, but we need to get there, and so that's why I'm wearing Barely Brown to help us get there.
that makes sense. No, I definitely, from what I've talked about, what your plans are for it, it will be part of like a bridge stepping stone to getting us there. When you mention like cultural toxicity, what exactly, I guess, do you mean? And I know that's like a very complex term, but what exactly do you mean by that?
So I would say, in my opinion, is this great infiltration of European culture onto us, and not just any European culture, just the Northern European culture, mostly like the German, English culture, because they colonized most of the world and they led this sort of movement. They led the movement of America. They founded America. There was a wave of immigration where early America did not allow for Southern and Eastern European immigrants to come to America. There was a ban. And so we're talking there's been many bans on immigration from different countries throughout American history. And so there was a ban on the European people as well. And so I think, that is what cultural toxicity is to me, is this Northern European obsession that we all have. We all want to have that blonde hair, that blue eyes, that white skin. We don't want to be seen eating, I guess, foods that aren't, familiar to the Northern European people. Like they just expect us to all eat porridge. That all of our
So
environment
funny.
beautiful foods, and that's another sort of I think insecurity. Even though we love America, we love like all the fun different foods. I think that like each of us are insecure of like the types of foods we eat and introducing it to like other people and them either accepting it as, oh, this is really good, or rejecting it as like, what are you eating, and so I think that's toxic. It hurts us, what are you calling, like, my culture disgusting, or like, for
Yeah.
example, this, so, the Ottoman Empire, for example, during the end of the Ottoman Empire, they started to adopt, like, Western clothings, and because of that, a lot of Middle Eastern countries follow, like, Western styles of wear, and because of that, they look at, like, South Asian styles of clothing, and they call us too colorful. That's another form of toxicity too, so there's many forms of, to toxic cultural traits that's been spread worldwide, and it's unfortunate, but I do see a huge shift happening, and so I hopefully it just keeps on improving, and this everyone just accepts everyone's culture, as equals, and sees every single, human as an equal and stops putting each other down, because I keep seeing that, and it's really sad, and it's so many microaggressions, and it's like, oh my gosh, stop, like, you know.
Like, oh, I guess the term that hurt people hurt people. I feel like that really like rings true, especially when you're talking about like people being insecure. And I think there's just so many people insecure about different things right now, whether it's related to your specific culture or like I would say for more European people for their own other insecurities as well. Like on top of that. And just everybody's using that as like fuel for hurting each other rather than like understanding. Like
Yeah.
or trying to seek to understand at least.
Yeah, we need to flip it.
Yeah.
We need to start understanding rather than putting each other down.
I agree. I so as you said that, I just remembered like in middle school being like terrified because Nigerian food I feel like is very similar, at least in terms of like the foreignness
Mhm.
to a lot of Middle Eastern food or like North African food or
What
just
is Nigerian food most similar to, like East African or North African or Indian?
ooh.
I would say Indian food, right? Because you
I
guys
kind
have
of feel like
plow,
yeah,
like polo plow. What do you guys call it? Like the rice where you steam vegetables
that's such a good
and
question.
beefin.
I know exactly what you're talking about, and I should know the name. There's certain soups and things that I think might be more related to like mid Africa or like Central Africa,
Oh,
something like that. But a lot of the other things, like the rices, are very similar to Indian food. They make like stews that are almost like parallel
mhm.
to curries as well, like not like or like other like Indian stews. So I would agree that it's Indian culture. But yeah, in middle school, I would go into like a Christian private school, so nobody wants to see that in your lunchbox exactly. Like, or people will be like, "What
Embarrassing.
is that exactly?" And you're just like, "It's a goosey soup. Like, I don't really know what to tell you. That's
It
that's
was
just what
even
it
embarrassing for me, and I went to an all-Asian school, so I was
is."
the only person. And I'd be scared to bring, like, biryani. I'd be like, "Mom, I can't have this." But you see how deeply that has been infiltrated into us that even me at this Asian school is so afraid of being myself.
That's sad though. And also middle school and high school kids are just really mean. Like they're
Oh my
just
god.
so cruel for no
Elementary school,
reason.
they're all like, all of them. Oh my god. Like, up
For
until
no
college.
reason. Up until college, and even then, like there's sprinkles of people in college.
Yeah,
So
exactly.
Akeem says, "Hello, Sachi and
Hi,
Nor."
King.
Hi, Akeem. What's up? We're having a very interesting conversation about cultural toxicity and Nor's TV show that we should all look out probably in the next 5 years. I would say, like we should all look out for
Hopefully next year. I'm really hoping the next
it.
few
All right.
months. Yeah,
It's
I
worth the
really.
plan. So, okay, if you had to choose where this show gets released, Netflix, Hulu, HBO Max.
I'm really
And,
rooting for Netflix
okay,
because Netflix feeds into, I think, 92% of the world. There's some countries that have a ban, and this show is so global. I would rather have it on a network that reaches everyone rather than HBO is great. I love HBO. I just got an HBO membership and I'm like, wow, this is great. But, from the start, I've always wanted Netflix, and so I'm gonna try my best to push it into Netflix. I think Netflix would be blessed to have Barely Brown.
I think that would be too. They're very open as a company to just like receiving people's ideas. At least I've noticed that like a lot of people who've written or pitched to them, just like right instead of like I guess the stereotypical way of doing TV show or movies where you're looking for very big name writers like Netflix and some on Hulu, but definitely Netflix have made it very known that they're open to like allowing a lot of different types of people to kind of shoot their shot with TV movie creation, which I appreciate. I appreciate. So I saw a girl who on Instagram who mentioned that she was like, "Yeah, I pitched my a year ago. I pitched my thing to Netflix, and now like I'm doing my thing." And I was like, "That's so beautiful." I
I
can't
hope
remember the name.
that's me.
It will be you. It will be you.
I'll let you know once I get it in the doors. I'll text you a picture. I'll be like, "I'm here."
I can't wait for the day. Truly, I like really can't.
Me too.
Do you feel like writing or just like particularly like TV show, movie writing, auditioning, acting was something that you wanted to do when you were younger, or did it like switch? Like you had a different vision and then like one day it like kind of changed into this.
I never thought I was going to be a screenwriter. I mean, I knew I wanted to be an actor, and I loved being in front of the camera at a really young age. I was auditioning for things as a kid. I got something when I was 11, and my mom was like, "No." Like, "I want you to get an education." And I'm like, "At this psycho high school? Like, no. Like, this is not the way to do it." But, I'm grateful I did stick there because now I can make an entire show about it. But yeah, I had no idea. Screenwriting just really came to me randomly. It came to me with the idea of Barely Brown. I came up with the idea of Barely Brown first, and it was such a good idea. Like, it was so good I started crying when I came up with it on the set of Warner
Um,
Brothers. Like, the VP of Warner Brothers asked me if I was crying if the Big Bang Theory came to an end, and I was like, "I don't know what to say." I'm really sad the Big Bang Theory came to an end. But it gave birth to Barely Brown. Like, if I wasn't on that set, I would have never came up with this idea. Like, it had to be there, And so, yeah, with this idea came this screenwriting career. And I feel like as a woman of color, you can't just try and keep auditioning for a job because white writers, which are the majority in Hollywood, they can't make a character for you. Or if they do make a character for you, it's going to be very stereotypical. And so, you had to make your own character. You have to make your own story. And I'm blessed to have, this idea. And I keep pushing it and I keep getting signs. I think this is a sign right now that we're sitting here and talking about it. Like,
I agree. One day you'll look back at this, probably when you do your Wendy Williams episode. You'll be like, this is my first interview about Barely Brown and about screenwriting. And I can happily say that I'm also there. When we also see my show, becomes like at a Jimmy Fallon level
it will.
tonight. So thank
100%.
you.
Yeah.
I look forward to just hopefully we can have like a reunion episode a year from now,
Oh my
and
God.
it'll be like, oh,
After Barely Brown is made, let's do a reunion episode.
I'm so happy. Like, I'm so down, maybe with the cast. I know you're gonna be like one of the main cast members in Barely Brown, but yeah,
Like,
with the cast too, we could talk with them about it and about how that like influenced their lives. I know you like touched on it a little bit, but the inspiration for it. I know you like it's about partially like your high school, but like where and the Warner Brothers are kind of like merged into this inspiration, but where would you say like the inspiration for it came from? And I guess what is the story? I know you can't tell us all too much, but what is the story of Barely Brown?
okay, if I'm being honest with you, the inspiration came from Malcolm X.
Huh. Okay.
He, when I was a senior in high school, I was really lost. I was in a lot of pain. It was it was a very intense environment and I had no friends when I was 17 by choice actually. I stayed away from those people by the time I was 17 because I knew that they were toxic and I knew that in the future I didn't want anything to do with them. And so I isolated myself based off of that. And Malcolm X came into my life and he gave me a lot of wisdom, advice. What really stood out to me about Malcolm X is that he didn't know how to read and write going into jail. And in
Wow.
8 years of time, he came out with as like the most eloquent speaker in the world. Like Malcolm X had nothing on any news reporter. That's why we have so much media on Malcolm because he could sit in front of any reporter and just slaughter them because that's how educated he was and that's how good he was with his words. And so that really motivated me to get a very good education. I was like, I have like this is number one. I have to get a top tier education to to make a difference in the world. And so my main influence was Malcolm X, and
Wow.
it's so surprising. Like I can't even believe that I died or not. Sorry, I didn't die. I graduated during um a time he died fighting for. Like I
Mm.
graduated during these massive protests that he died during, and all of my education has been about history and racism and political science and white supremacy. Like I have 10 AA degrees in the humanities.
Wow.
I'm very much well prepared to make a television show like this, and I can now talk to reporters about these topics and carry this mission further into the world and make another wave of difference onto like the next generation. of
Mhm.
people.
Wow, that's amazing. No, that's true. I really agree with you about like I guess what you're doing being like kind of the next wave of a movement. Just like the first wave, I guess, was to focus on getting like very specific human rights, but the second one I feel like is a lot more cultural and mental. And I feel that in like pop culture and media and like how we are presented and how we start to see ourselves and how everybody else is also understanding other people in the world. That's like the second wave. And I definitely see the show that you're developing being a part of that story and that like unintentional, like subtle education. You know what I mean? Like edutainment almost.
I would say it's more entertainment on
Mm.
the I think Ava DuVernay is doing a great job with edutainment.
Mm-hmm.
I I'm doing something in a way where I'm reenacting my entire life in a way for people to really think about it. Like why are we bashing each other like this? Why
Mm.
is this girl suffering so much? Like she shouldn't be suffering like this. You know, like ask people like questions about this environment, like what's going on here. And it's very political. I mean, that school in itself is very, very political. And so it's a great environment to tell the story.
Okay. So the story of your whole life is that starting from like the beginning of going to high school? Is that like elementary school beginning, or is it like bringing in pieces from different levels? But I know it's like focused a little bit more on high school.
It starts first grade.
Okay.
I mean, it's primarily high school focused, but because I went to school with the same people
Mm.
in first, second, you know, I grew up with all these people for 12 years and we've all been in this school. And so,
Mhm.
you know, the people from elementary school are now characters in high school. And
Okay.
that everything that started in elementary school just carried into high school. So yeah, there wasn't much of a difference between elementary school and high school. I will say that my elementary school was a lot more competitive than my high school, which is scary. It's
Come more competitive how?
my I went to the best elementary school out of the 4. So there was 4 elementary schools and they all fed into Mishnaze High School. And I think my classmates were the most competitive out of all of the elementary schools because we lived in the more expensive area of Fremont. And yeah, they were very vicious.
That's so funny to imagine. Like, I mean, I know it's more the parents, and because you don't really know fully what's going on at that time, but just like vicious elementary school students.
Yeah, I did. My friend was like laughing about it. She was like, Nora, you should make a television show about Mission San Jose Elementary School specifically.
Oh, that's so wow. But also, I mean, I guess that's good. It's kind of always like pushed you to like survive in a competitive environment, even though it shouldn't always be that way. You know, it shouldn't always be like,
It can go 2 ways. You can become destroyed or you can be very, very strong. And
hmm,
I'm very blessed to have become strong rather than be destroyed because I've seen people who are totally destroyed from that environment and I understand why they are destroyed and it really breaks my heart that they're like that now and it's like I can't do anything to fix them, but I can make a show about it and really help them understand what's happening. And it's not
hmm,
their fault. It's none of this is their fault. I mean, these are very deep structures that have been imposed onto us for many, many years that we're now detangling.
hmm. Wow. No, that's true. Do you think how long, like, I mean, obviously this is like a personal guess, but how long do you think it would take for us to kind of untangle that, like this web that we're starting to untangle?
Maybe 200 years.
Okay.
Yeah, like I don't think it's gonna take, it's not gonna, it's getting better, but for it to really make any improvement, it has to sustain for, you know, it can't be just a shift for 10 years, which I feel like is happening. Like there's going to be some good for 10 years, and then we're going to go back into that mess. And so
Hmm.
it needs to sustain after the 10 years. It needs to be 20, 30, 40. It can't just revert back to, you know, because that's what happened after the civil rights movement. It was really good for, I wouldn't say it was really good. My dad actually grew up in Chicago during the civil rights movement, and
Wow.
he would always give me stories of how bad Chicago was. And he wasn't African American. He was from India, but because there was no other Indian people in Chicago back then, they always thought he was black, and he would always get into fights. They would jump him. Like it was bad when my dad was growing up here, and it is getting better, but it's very psychological, you know? And
Mm,
so, you know, to change the mindsets of people is it's gonna take hundreds of years. It's not an easy fix.
that makes sense. Yeah, we have a lot of webs to detangle, I guess. I mean, not I guess, we just do. And it's interesting because I know like there's, depending on who you're talking to, like somewhat of a debate on where we're at in the progress of that. Like some people are like, oh, it's been resolved almost, or like everything's okay
No.
now versus like it's not
No,
okay.
it's not resolved. It's like far from resolved. Like some people may like because of like the media is so smart. Because what the media is doing with giving more representation to brown, black, Asian people, they think that the matter is getting fixed, but it's systematic. It's not being fixed from the inside, you
Hmm.
know? So we need to go from the inside. And so the way like I chose to do this through entertainment because the media reaches so many people. But I mean, there's only so much I can do for the rest of my life, and I'll definitely keep pursuing this mission of mine and do it through different mediums. But everyone needs to do it with me. It's not I can't be the only one. It really needs to be, you know, every you know, from every culture. And it's a worldwide problem. Like everyone needs to embrace, you know, this new sort of thinking of coming together as a whole. You know, like there's way more people of color than there is European people. So why are we still divided against each other?
Hmm. No, that's a good question. I guess because we're used to it now. Almost.
Unfortunately, but we you know, we can fight it. I mean, you see civil wars all over the world still, right? Like, India has a civil war, China has a civil war, and those are the 2 that's on top of my head right now, but it's still very like, these civil wars that were started by European settlers has just continued onto the modern era.
That's sad, but hopefully we start to get a better picture of it. Even like every Black History Month, I'm just starting to notice more information that I hadn't heard of before, like each year, which is really nice. Like it's bad because some of the stuff you hear is like terrible, but like even just the fact that we're starting to share more of that information, whereas before it was a lot more hidden, and I'm sure that's happening across a lot of cultures. But I agree, like there's still a lot more to be done, especially systematically, because there's things that like are just happening that are built on a system that was designed for exclusion almost, or like
Designed to divide and conquer us, and we have stayed divided and conquered,
exactly.
unfortunately.
No, really, we have, which is sad. I agree, and I respect what you're doing for the media because I feel like that is a huge pillar of how the world sees each other. You know what I mean? Like we interpret a lot of things from what the media is presenting, and so that it makes sense that that's going to be really influential in how we change that perspective. And you kind of focusing on that. And I agree with you. You can only do so much in your industry, but if there's more people in each of these industries working on that goal, then we'll probably see more progress. I've chosen to try and do that through business, or at least that's my personal mission through the businesses that I've chosen to work on. And I know some people who are choosing to do that through medicine or through like the STEM route, and that's how they want to make their impact for people of color, but just people at large, but people
Mhm.
of color in particular.
Yeah, every industry suffers from the same systematic supremacy that we're taught. And so the more people that are educated in these matters in their industries, they can continue to make a difference.
It makes sense. So like when, because there's just so much about, I imagine, like your personal experience in your childhood and then also this topic as a whole. When, how will you know that the show is done? Like how will you know that it's like, or are you still figuring that out? Is that like an active
I
discovery?
I know it will be done the day the premiere happens. Like,
Okay.
when it's shooting, like, no, like, after everything has been edited, after when the date comes out and the premiere is there, that's when I know it's done, and I can
Okay.
start sharing it with the world. Because as of now, like, no one really knows that I'm making a television show. It's really you're the you're one of the few people that know. I hid it from so many people. I don't want my high school classmates to know I'm making a television show about Mission. Yeah, I've been hiding it for many, many months.
Do
None
you
of my family doesn't know. It's yeah, it's very much under the wraps. Like, I'm really just waiting for the premiere. I will not tell anyone until that premiere.
then you'll be like, hey guys, just send out everybody like a silent invitation to it, like just out of the blue, out of nowhere,
Just
like by the
randomly post it on Instagram, just randomly.
you're
Everyone's
like
like, "What is going on?" Yeah, that's my plan. That's just been my plan. I'm not posting anything about this until it happens.
that makes sense. I support the plan. I'm glad to be one of the few that know. I definitely support, but we'll keep it under wraps, like the specifics, until premiere day, and then we'll
Yeah,
have our reunion episode.
yes.
Speaking of your Instagram, you love fashion. I picked up on this already. I picked up on the styling. So, how would you describe your personal style?
I actually was talking about this with my friend the other day. We've decided to call it girly with an edge.
Girly with an edge. Okay.
Yeah, because 'cause I'm really girly. I love, girly prints like glitter, butterflies, cheetah leopard prints,
That's so cute.
diamonds, studs. That's all very girly stuff, but I pair it with something funky, like something so random, but I can pull it off. And yeah, I'm always pairing random colors together, and I always want like a statement color or like a statement piece. So like today, my nails are my statement, or my
Ooh.
would be my statement maybe.
I did really like the earrings. I had to point that out too. I
Yeah, you
noticed that they definitely make the whole vibe. Where do you get them from? Where do you get the funky piece from? Even I saw your clueless outfit. I don't even know where you acquire that.
I actually got that last minute. The other store I wanted to get the Clueless outfit from, it sold out, and I was like, "Oh, crap, where do I get a Clueless outfit?" And so like a day before Halloween, I saw that Dolls Kill was selling Clueless outfits, and Dolls Kill's in
Ooh.
LA, and I live in Orange County, so I literally drove all the way to LA just to get it.
Oh.
And it worked out. It just came together so perfectly, and I like the Dolls Kill Clueless outfit more than the other one because I think the Dolls Kill one was, like, cuter, and I do get a lot of my clothes from Dolls Kill.
Okay.
It's a store of mine, yeah.
Makes sense. All right. What
And
does I guess like when you put a good outfit together, right? Like what does that do for like your attitude and like your confidence, cuz I feel like how you take care of yourself is like really ties into like how you walk through the world or move through the world. So what does it do for you? Exactly. Or like how do you feel in them?
it uplifts you, It puts you in a good mood, it puts you in a good like, you're a boss when you put on, like, a really good outfit, like, it's good, and you're like, "Oh, I look amazing," like, your confidence goes from, like, this to, like, this, It's a
Mhm.
huge confidence shift. I remember when I was getting ready in the morning, I didn't wanna wear sweats. And then the casting agent was like, "We're gonna do, like, a full body shoot," and I was like, "Oh my god, I have to wear pants now." But wearing, plaid pants really uplifted me, like, I feel so much better,
Mhm.
and so, yeah, like, it really makes a difference the way you dress, and you can convince people, better you can sell things if you know
Mhm.
you are dressed for it.
No, that makes a lot of sense. Like you can almost sell not yourself because I know that like that's not necessarily true,
Well,
but
that's
kind of.
what it is. You have to sell yourself, and
Yeah, kind of. People
yeah,
take you a little bit more seriously if they
me
feel like
too.
you take care of yourself,
If
which
you look
makes sense.
snatched, everyone is looking at you, like, you have to always put your best outfit forward.
Which makes sense. Like, would you want somebody who's dressed bummy versus somebody who like looks like they walked out of like Rodeo Drive? Like, probably the person who came from, which may not necessarily always that, but like that styling, but just somebody who's put a nice fit together, like put the whole
It gives
outfit.
off an energy,
Oh, I agree,
Like
100%.
yeah, so my mom taught this to me as a really young kid. I was always dressed really nicely at school. And I think that's where a lot of my friction with my classmates came from because they were all wearing sweats and I wasn't. But yeah, my mom taught me at a really young age. She's like, you have to dress nicely every day. Like, you cannot not dress nicely. Like, you need, and there, I do notice that, like, when I wear something nice versus when I don't wear something nice, there is a shift in how people treat me. And it's
Mhm.
unfortunate, but I think as like a woman of color, you have to, constantly put in the extra effort to be treated equally, unfortunately. But that's really, um, that's our circumstance.
I mean, I agree. I still dress kind of bummy sometimes. However, I agree though about putting in the. I definitely like. I feel the need to put in the extra effort, especially now. I think coming into more professional life, like it almost feels like you have to like be taken seriously, kind of like what you were saying. Yeah. Do you have like fashion inspirations, like people in particular who like have inspired the style?
When I was a kid, it was Kim Kardashian.
Fair enough.
I always liked Kim Kardashian because I people started telling me I looked like her when I was 13. So,
Ooh.
having her as like a fashion role model, it was just it. She always wore blazers during her early career. Like if you ever look up Kim Kardashian, 2008, 2009, always a blazer, like hundreds of blazers. So I think I have like 30 blazers I accumulated.
Wow. Okay.
They're like all funky, like fun blazers, and I still wear it today. And
I can't
yeah,
lie, I also love her fashion. Like I really do. I know we have mixed feelings as a society about the Kardashian family, but their fashion, like you just can't ignore they put fits together really well. Like
yeah,
you can't hate on them.
yeah, you really and also, I grew up in fashion. So my mom was
Mm.
directing fashion shows when I was just a baby. I was like 5, 6 years old going to fashion shows. And I think that meeting designers at a really young age and them complimenting me on my wardrobe that my mom gave me really like uplifted my mood. And I knew at a really young age what people like received well and what people didn't receive very
Mm.
well. So, yeah, I think that my mom being so fashion forward really did help me as a kid, and my grandma's really fashion forward. I come from a very fashionable family.
I mean, that's super cool. I kind of wish I had to. I mean, they do, but my mom's definitely more like she'll chill in the sweatpants thing. But it is honestly through like going through kind of more challenging times at UCLA where like my mental health was in a really poor state that I like learned the value of putting things together well for myself, like just looking
Oh.
good for myself. Because then you walk through the day with a different energy, like you said, as
Yeah, and
opposed
I
to,
feel like everyone dressed so nicely at UCLA.
oh my
Right?
goodness, yeah.
Like, I was like every
It's
single
hot.
day I had to like dress perfectly. I had to wear my hoops. I had to do my hair. I like every single day. Like even if I had a midterm, I was like, no, I have to dress perfectly. I even wore like nice shoes. Like it was
Aww.
I loved it though. I loved dressing up and like looking like everyone would compliment me and be like, thanks. And like be ready for the film sets at UCLA because they're always shooting something random. So I remember when Once Upon a Time in Hollywood was being shot in fall of 2018.
Mm.
Do you remember that?
I vaguely remember that.
I literally was on that set. I was like walking to school and I was in the Westwood area, like the Bruin Theater area. And I was like, what is going on?
I
It
remember
was
seeing like the
the
billboard.
most beautiful set I've ever been on. Like, and that's when I knew in my heart that I really wanted to be an actor. I was like, "Oh
Aw,
my god, this feels amazing." And Margot Robbie is like right there, and I'm like, "Where am I?"
I love
It was great. That was my favorite memory from UCLA was by accident being on the set of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and I would not have been there if I did not skip class that day. I I skipped my Orientalism class. So I was like, I'm tired. And so I slept in an hour extra. And then I started having breakfast and I was like, wow, it's such a great day. I'm gonna walk to school. And so I missed taking the Bruin bus because of that. Yeah,
wow.
and wound it up. So that was fate. And literally Quentin Tarantino he transformed all of Westwood. Like he changed everything. Like there was like posters I've never seen, like every single like, the hangovers of windows, they were changed. Like
Yes.
the entire area was swarmed with cars from like the 70s, 80s, like hundreds of cars just roaming around in circles. I was like dressed for the vibe. I was like 70s like vibe, and I was trying to just blend in with like the other background actors, but obviously my backpack gave it away. I should have went back to my apartment and put my backpack away and just like stayed there. But I ended up going to the library to study for my Orientalism class. I'm really glad I got that experience. Like it's one of my favorite memories. It really is.
That's so cool. I honestly appreciate UCLA for that at the very least. Like you never know what each day you could like come across, because there's always because of where we were, because of how a lot of people used Westwood for a lot of film things.
So many,
I
yeah.
do remember being on it's like the little furry people. It's not Minions. It's like a children's movie that I walked past there on that set day,
Was it the
but
sausage party?
Trolls.
Oh, okay, okay, okay.
It
Trolls
was
was cool.
Trolls premiere. Yeah. I remember seeing like everything. And I had to walk past it so you could see like who
The
this
premiere.
like
You can see
yeah,
the
you
celebrity.
saw the premiere, but like I was just like, I'm going to class right now. Like I'm going to school.
No,
Like
it really is like that. It's like we're just going to school and we see like I don't know, Selma Hayek.
yeah.
It's
I
so
saw
casually.
Abby Lee from Dance Moms in BJ's.
Oh
Just
my
like I was
god.
having dinner at BJ's, and then I looked across the table and I was like, she's having that's Abby Lee from Dance Moms, and I was like, whoa, like hello. Somebody said Beyonce was in Westwood at one point. Justin Bieber. I saw Odell Beckham walking out of the football center once, like he was training in there, and I was like,
You know who I bumped into at a boba shop in Westwood?
ooh,
Let me tell you, this is like one of my other favorite stories. I'm like walking back home and I was like, I just want boba. I haven't had boba since I left Fremont. So I walk into this random boba shop. And as I'm walking in, this white guy like bumps into me. And I'm like, wow, that's rude. You're not going to say sorry. Like, I'm mad. And then I look at the employees, and every single one of them is like frozen. Like, their mouths are dropped open. And I was like, oh my God, am I stabbed? And I start searching if I'm stabbed or not. And after like a few times, I got someone to talk. And she was like, that was David Beckham. I was like, David Beckham just bumped into me. That's so cool.
whoa, that's so cool.
Like the number one like soccer player around the world for like all of our childhoods, like all we heard about was Victoria and David Beckham.
Yeah,
Yeah, that was definitely that was fun.
that does sound super fun. That's so cool, though. UCLA really does give us that, like,
It's
give
such
you
a
that
fun
opportunity.
experience. Yeah,
Yeah.
like it's I had so many celebrities and you just meet them by accident. And yeah, like I remember, do you know what Rent is?
Rent. The movie,
The
play,
music. Yeah,
musical.
the
Yeah.
musical. It's like the first like musical about AIDS, and I had the lead character is gay, obviously, and so it was very it was very progressive for that time. And the lead actor from Rent walked into the Mac store when my friend was doing makeup on me. He's like, I'm just looking for a foundation. And then someone comes up to us like after he leaves, and she's like, did you guys know who that is? And me and my boss are like, no. And she's like, that's the lead actor of Rent. And I freak out because I know what Rent is. I just didn't know he was the lead.
That's so cool, though. Like, oh
it's,
my
it's it's cool. Like, what else was shooting? All American. I remember being on the All American set when they were shooting. Yeah, I remember I was walking to class and I was looking at them and I'm like, what are they doing? And then I'm like watching it on Netflix and I'm like, oh, I was there.
That's so cool. I literally just recently, maybe like sometime late last year, came across All American. And I like fangirled about it super hard. I like was watching because I remembered where they were showing the Beverly Hills side. I was like, that is school. Like I was like, I live all up around here.
It
Like
was
he
a
would
lot
go
of
to certain places.
UCLA.
Yeah. And I was like, I think I like lived right next to Beverly Hills High School like for a little bit too. Like my second apartment was really close to it. So I was just like fangirling super hard. I was
It
like,
was
oh my god.
mostly shot at UCLA though. Well, obviously, it's such a beautiful school.
Man, it is a beautiful our alma mater, which is super weird to think
We're
about.
we're so blessed to, like, have met there, and now we're, both doing entertainment mediums, and we both are pre-med, right?
Yeah, I was.
Well, we just stopped doing that because it's going nowhere. It's
No,
hard.
it
Pre-med
is
is
hard.
not easy at all. It's one of the hardest, I think, career paths in the world. I think doctors very difficult, and I do think acting is also a very difficult career path, but they require different intelligences. So I think that a doctor would never be able to do what I'm doing, and I can never do what a doctor is doing, you know?
Probably not. Like I feel like that makes sense though. Like there are certain things, yeah, the doctors do that you just like can't. I know a lot of like in particular people in STEM tend to have trouble with like their expression of certain things. Like not all of them, but just like being able to like meet.
Socialize.
Yeah.
Because that was the problem at
Like,
my high school, like, my classmates couldn't socialize with me, like, I was just, like, on cloud 9, and they were just, like, couldn't keep up. Like, why is this girl so social? Like, they literally would ask me to, like, stop talking.
but they just couldn't keep up. Really,
Yeah.
that's the issue. No, I understand that. I really do. Pre med is hard. When you said, I think at the very beginning, you said like you felt things more emotionally in a certain way, and like that made it like you just kind of realized that like that didn't gel well with like what pre med requires of you, and that's somewhat similar to how I felt too. Like I just did not. My dad is in medicine, and he just said that like he was talking to me about it one day and he was like at some point you just kind of like get used to people dying around you because like that's just a part of then I was just like I can't even like conceptualize that feeling and I feel like I'd be way too emotionally charged to be in that type of environment. Like I would take that very personally if that was my responsibility. Like I would be taking that really really personally every time. I don't think I could just like let that.
It's a lot. Yeah, I remember when I was an intern at Stanford Medicine, we saw a cadaver that they dissect before they dissected it, and I was like, "Oh my god." And that really did desensitize me. Like, I definitely think I'm desensitized from death because of that. Like,
Wow.
I'm just sort of like, whatever at this point, because I was pre-med for 7 years. That's not like I wasn't pre-med for like 4, it was 7. It was a lot, and I guess when you're learning about like humanity at a very cellular molecular level, it just desensitizes you at that at any point. And being in the hospital all day, yeah, it's a lot though, and you have to be emotionally ready for it.
No, I agree. I definitely also I decided I wasn't emotionally ready for that. To be quite honest, I didn't want to be a part of that. It seemed too much like I
What
mean,
kind
perhaps
of doctor is your dad?
anesthesiology.
Oh wow, those are the top ones.
Yeah. He definitely does well for himself, but I do see like how just like emotionally draining his job is. Like and I mean he's far less emotional than I am too. So just even like watching how he's emotionally drained, I was like, God forbid it was me. Like I really would not have been able to like take that and just like sleep well at night and be like everything's okay. It just sounds like you're so on edge. And I feel like a very certain type of person has to be like strong enough, like mentally, intellectually, emotionally to like just like do that every day. Like every day, like
That's
that's
really good at suppressing their emotions.
I
Yeah.
can't do that. I literally physically can't do it.
Very sensitive and emotional, but also as an actor, you have to bring the emotions out. Like you can't keep it repressed. And so there's another type of emotional intensity that actors have to go through that people don't realize. They
Mm.
always have to, they have to be sad when they have to be sad. And sometimes that lingers on into their actual life. And that's difficult to deal with. But I think acting's great for me. I love it. I feel like I'm prepared.
You seem like you're prepared. You're definitely like making that active effort too to like grow and work on your craft too. And I feel like that's all you really can ask from it, like to work on it and get better at it. But like it also feels like it naturally like resonates with you as a person, like what you're doing and who you are like naturally merge, which is beautiful though. Not everybody has that or like feels that about what the work that they do every day.
I mean, I'm still getting there though. I'm like right now, I'm like trying to get in.
So yeah, but I've heard there's like a lot of joy in the journey too. So like I'm sure like just the way that you're dedicated to it, it's going to work out. It's just more of a question of when and
Yeah.
maybe how, but like more when. And then one day you'll look back at this and just be like, that was so fun. Like just
I
trying
miss
to
those
figure it out.
days. I miss those days of working at my mom and dad's house and not really doing anything else.
Really though, I believe at least I've heard that a lot about people who like kind of shoot up in success. They're just like the funnest part is the beginning, so just like kind of enjoy that time while it lasts.
Yeah, it's the calm before the storm, so I'm really enjoying the calm. It's a good calm. No one's bothering me. It's great. I love it.
When was the last time that you felt deeply inspired and why? And it's kind of like a big question.
Hmm. I feel like I'm always deeply inspired. I
That's
feel like every day of my life something inspires me, especially because we're always on social media. People are always posting like inspirational quotes, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm inspired.
that makes sense.
But if I say the last time I was deeply, deeply inspired, what I think it was really when I was 17. Like that was the deepest inspiration I've ever had was, when I connected with Malcolm X's story and I was
Mm,
just so inspired. Because honestly, if you knew me in high school, I was really bad at school. I had a 1.4 GPA, maybe lower. I wasn't about to graduate high school. I had to go to adult school to finish high school because it was too hard, my high school. And
mm.
so, yeah, like I was not a good student at all. Like I was really bad at school. And so he really pushed me to get to get that education, and with that education will come power. And so I realized now after 8 years of my education that the power is coming in.
How
Like
did you
I
like, get through that period? Or like how did his story help you understand your story?
I think that like I would read a lot of like sad stories like Van Gogh.
Mm,
And Van Gogh was the first historical character to inspire me when I was 8. And I was like, okay, like I'm not the only lonely person in the world. Like there's been many different people who've went through very traumatic situations and did something great for the world. And it's just been a matter of time of what great would I do, And I at
mhm.
a very young age I've always wanted to do something impactful and great because that's what the past, leaders did that were like abused or went through really went through a lot of trauma and it's documented in their biographies. And so, yeah, I've never wanted to work a 9 to 5 job. I've always just wanted to find something great and for it to resonate with everyone else. And I think that's Barely Brown.
I think it is too. And that's really beautiful. I actually also really love Van Gogh stories. So I understand what you mean about like just resonating with like different historical characters and how their stories kind of like give inspiration in their own way to your own story. And like seeing them overcome kind of makes you believe that you can also overcome, especially a lot of them.
Exactly.
Like Van Gogh was like a random person before, like nobody knew. He didn't like
No
come.
one knew him until after he passed away.
Which I imagine that's like probably a little bit frustrating. Like I would be a little frustrated because he's a very good artist, but like nobody took him seriously until.
It makes me sad because he really did such great work. And I had a learning disability. I had dyslexia. And so he also, I forgot what disability he had, but he did too. And I was really able, at 8 years old, I was able to relate to him in many different ways and helped me get through a lot.
Does having dyslexia affect your writing, like your screenwriting at all, or not really? Or how have you like kind of learned to like not let it affect those things, if anything?
Reading and writing and talking, even talking, has always been a weak point of mine. I couldn't structure sentences properly because I had a hard time with vocabulary and grammar, which makes sense because that's what dyslexic people struggle with. It's words. And yeah, to overcome that, I just read 4 books a month for about 8 years, my entire college career. And I just kept reading and reading and reading. And that was the only way I knew I could help myself at that point. I didn't go to therapy. Therapy back then was sort of it wasn't normalized yet. Like now it's normalized, but back then it was sort of like, oh, you must be really bad to have to go to therapy, you know? And so I had to really just I learned from Malcolm, who read a lot in jail. Like all he did was read and write. And he had really bad like grammar and sentence structure problems. Like he couldn't talk properly either. And so
Mhm.
because I was able to relate to Malcolm when I was 17, I can now properly read, write, and talk, and I can pursue this career that requires so many of a talking skills. And yeah, like it doesn't really affect me anymore. Screenwriting is more creative though than it is like grammar intensive, because we're making characters, and characters don't talk with perfect sentences. And so that's why I like screenwriting. It's so much easier than actually like journalism, for example. Oh my God. I me journalism was just I like the Daily Bruin was a great experience. I learned so much from it. Like this idea came from the Daily Bruin, but I realized that it's very structure intensive, and you always had to follow the style of writing of the newspaper or the magazine.
Hmm.
And as a creative person, I hated following anyone.
I feel that.
Yeah, where screenwriting, you have a blank page and you can do whatever you want with it. And that's
Mm.
just so fun to me. And it's like a whole new world. Like, yeah, I love it. Like I think screenwriting really found me, and like I'm really grateful.
Oh, no, I believe that. I like just finished reading Big Magic by Elizabeth Gilbert, and she basically describes creativity in that way. She was like, it's kind of like out there and it's like waiting for you to be open to receiving it. And like when you are open, it will like release its full self to you and like give you the inspiration that you need to do what you're supposed to do. But you have to be open to it. So even just hearing you describe it that way, it sounds like that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, literally. I was
Aw.
I was desperate actually in 2019. After after I left pre-med, I was desperate for like a different pathway, and this just it fell together very nicely. And yeah, I'm grateful and blessed, and hopefully soon Bradley Brown will be on Netflix.
Oh, it
Manifesting
will.
it,
It will.
manifesting it right now. This is recorded, so in the future people will be like, "Oh my God."
I like genuinely can't wait for the day that we look back at this like episode. We do a reunion episode. We're like, wow, this is like when she was like just finished Act Three. Now it's like here's the cast of things.
Yeah.
It's like that comparison will be super cool.
Yeah, thanks for doing this. This is like great
Oh,
preserver of this time. Like this is
oh, of
great.
course. I love filming. And I love capturing moments in real time in life, like everybody's life. And like the talk show's supposed to kind of build on that a little bit, like hearing everybody's perspectives a little bit and like all of us understanding life together, like not just, I guess, reality TV is fun. Like it's my guilty pleasure and stuff, but really understanding like what you learned about what inspired the basis of your career, of your personal beliefs, of your education and how that can help other people understand their personal beliefs and their careers and their education. So I love what I do too. Like I enjoyed this, and for me, this is at least a creative outlet. I already like talking, and I like asking questions. I like interviewing, but like informal journalism. Like I can't do the technical either. Like I don't want to.
Hard, hard. I would never do that again.
I
Like
totally understand.
I respect journalists. Like their job is not easy.
I was in newspaper in high school, but that was in high school, so I don't really count that as much. But I enjoyed it, but it is a lot of like work and like having to go through different people to get certain things. But even just to get a story like selected, not everybody's gonna think a story you want to do is as interesting, So like kind of being able to free do what you want to do, screenwriting or streaming, vlogging, like where you get to choose the voice that you want to use and just use it freely. Like nobody can really control that. I think it's a really beautiful thing.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, producers can control it.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Whoever decides to fund the project. If they don't like something, I have to listen. And that's how entertainment works is I'm putting what I think should be the show, but ultimately it's actually in the producer's hands. And so I hope in the future I will be the producer,
Mm.
and I can move from screenwriting and acting into production, and I can be the one to oversee it rather than have someone who isn't educated in these topics oversee something and change something based off, their life experiences, but it isn't rooted in historical accuracy.
That
But
makes sense.
I hope that I can get a producer who's willing to learn with me and
Mm.
understand with me rather than having just their perception and only their perception, which is what I'm scared about. But there's a lot of woke people in entertainment. So I think I'm good.
I think you're good too. I think it's all gonna work. You're gonna draw the right people towards you for what you
I
need.
hope I mean, I feel like I'm seeing it. I'm seeing the signs, and I am just I'm manifesting it. I'm, like, holding on to these signs. Like, I keep seeing the number 1111. Like, I've
Ooh.
never seen 1111 that much, but, like, now it's like I'm always seeing it. I'm like, "Oh my god, like, another 1111," and my life path number is 1.
Oh
So,
wow.
like, seeing 1111 is just, like, such a good sign to me. I'm like, "Oh my god, yay."
No, it is a really good sign. I guess
Yeah.
like in that, what does spirituality mean to you? Because I know that there's a lot of different like there's like so many different facets of what spirituality is. So like for you, what does that mean?
Well, I'm Muslim, and so I think a lot of my spirituality draws from Islam, which actually is a very spiritual religion. A lot of people might not think that, but there's a very large sector of Islam that is it's spirituality driven, and that type of Islam ruled India at one point. So that's why I adhere to that sect more. Um, but spirituality, like, believing that like my angels are always doing good for me and like they'll push me in the right direction, not the wrong direction, and like trusting in that, trusting in my angels. And like your angels can also come in human form. Like I think my history professor is a guardian angel of mine. Or, I met this football player on an airplane in 2019 who convinced me to write Bailey Brown.
Wow.
He was the force, like, in my like, September 2019, it was just in my head, and then he told me something, and I was like, "Oh my god, I have to make this television show." So I think that this football player I sat next to on an airplane was a guardian angel as well. His name was Ira Matthews. I met him. He was a Raiders football player,
Nice.
and he won the
Wow.
Super Bowl in, like, 1980 something. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, and I think that you and I are both Cancers, right? And so I
Yes.
think that water sign energy especially is, like, a very deep it's just a deep energy, and we feel very strongly, and so I think that as a water sign, we just gotta trust in our feelings rather than not trust in it, And, yeah, like, we're pretty psychic. That's actually what someone told me when I wasn't into astrology. I There was a time I thought astrology was stupid, and now I love it.
What made you believe? Because I know some people who I love it too. But what made you shift into believe, like making it, thinking
So
it?
in 2017, I was writing on Quora a lot. So Quora is like an education medium, and I would just
Mhm.
write about history all the time. And so this Swedish astrologer messaged me on Quora, and he asked if he can do my astrology birth chart reading. And I'm like, this is so dumb, but okay, do it. And so he comes back and he describes me accurately, like to the T. He was like, "You're like a big happy dog that comes to everyone with like a lot of energy." And I was like, "Wow, that's literally like that's exactly me."
Aw.
And after that, I just got really obsessed with that. I was like, "What is it? Like, why was this random guy from Sweden able to describe me exactly like how I am?" And that was freaky because at the time I actually didn't have a YouTube, I didn't have an Instagram, I had no other medium but Quora. And Quora, I was very different on Quora. I'm not like, my Instagram's really like edgy and fun. Yeah, that's not my Quora personality. Really like nothing he was able to draw from, and yeah, I was impressed. I was very and we're friends till this day.
Aw.
Yeah.
I That's so cool. I know a lot of people think astrology is weird, but I feel like there's good cases for why it's relevant. It's not necessarily 100% accurate where most things aren't 100% accurate either. And it's not necessarily like predictable always. Like somebody whose cancer isn't always going to act like a cancer description. But I feel like overall, like for the most part, almost everybody I know who like they relate to what their thing is, like whatever their sign is. Like most of them, like there's very few people who like are like, oh, I'm not like that. But like almost everybody, if you describe to them what their sign is supposed to be like, they'll be like, oh no, that does sound like me. Like, which is so funny. I hope more people like become more open to it because I think it's a really cool guide
I
for.
think it's a great like spiritual guide, I think. It has helped me. And like in religions, it's seen as a sin, and so I'm just like on the tread of like not going too into it. Um, but it really has helped. It's helped me grow and it's given me a lot of advice.
Same, literally same.
Yeah, like, I mean,
Um,
I think when I found astrology, I already grew into myself, so there was nothing
hmm,
really to change, like, it made sense to me my moon was in Libra because Libra is so, like, beautiful and aesthetic, you know? And I was just like that, and no other Cancer was like that, it was just me. Like, my friend that was born on the same day as me, she's completely different, and it's because she has a Scorpio moon and I have a Libra moon, and that makes such a big difference.
it does make those energies are just very different. Like a Scorpio energy versus a Libra, they're very different in like
Your
how.
moon's in Taurus, right?
Yes.
So we both
Also,
have our moon in the planet Venus. So we both like being pretty and aesthetically pleasing.
I do like the. I do. Aesthetics are huge for me, like huge.
Yeah,
Oh, that's
yeah.
so
Taurus
cool.
and Libra like that.
That makes sense, though. I understand. I understand. You and I are both into the like, but I understand. Like even from your social media presence, I picked that up as
Thank you.
well.
Yeah, I'm obsessed with like the balancing out the colors. I'm like, if a color doesn't fit, I'm like, all right, archive.
I literally will go through mine all the time, looking at it, and I'll be like, "Is this fit? Does this block fit the aesthetic I'm
Oh,
trying to go for right now?" And then I totally get you. Totally
I'm
understand.
always archiving things.
Same.
Yeah.
Same. Oh my goodness. Okay. Well, I have, I think, one more question, and then after that, I mean, we can talk, but also,
We've been talking for an hour, 20 minutes.
yeah, I know. I'm so glad. I love catching up, though. I'm obviously still
Yeah.
open to it. But the last like technical question that I wrote up for this interview was, what areas of your life would you like to grow in, and how can I help support that growth?
I mean, you're always doing different things. Like every single time I'm like talking to you, you're like, "Oh, this is what I'm doing." And I think that like for me, I always have to work on the next project. You know, I can never be okay with like getting one project in and then like be comfortable. Like no, I have to work on the next project. And that's how entertainment works. And that's every single like successful entertainer for like Walt Disney, for example. He would always be on the second project. Like when Snow White came out, he was working on another film and he was just like constantly getting things out into the public and he was working and up until he died like he was on an IV at like Burbank Hospital, I think, and his studio was across the street and he would walk from the hospital to the studio to make sure that his animators are working on 101 Dalmatians and Walt Disney World in Florida. And so he never got to see Walt Disney World because he died right before it was built. But yeah,
Wow.
he oversaw all of that from his hospital bed. And so I think that like we can constantly like motivate each other on like what's the next move, what's the next thing, and you're already on that vibe. Like from the day I met you, you've been doing like so many different things. I saw you get famous on YouTube. I'm like, how does she get famous on YouTube? I need to get that 1,000 subscribers mark. Like,
Thank you. I
I'm
don't.
like, everyone follow me, Nora Gatala. Like, if you post this on YouTube, like put my YouTube on it.
I will. I was actually right afterwards. I was gonna ask all the links that you'd want people to have for you. I will put it will go on YouTube, and I'm
Yeah.
gonna like it's on YouTube right now. We're streaming on both YouTube and
Oh,
Twitch.
are we really? Oh
Yes,
my god, this
ma'am.
is so cool.
But then afterwards, I'm gonna go back through and like edit the footage, and
Oh,
then like kind of make a highlights video from this as
okay,
well.
that's smart because it's like an hour and 20-minute video.
That might be a little rough. Yeah.
I'm sorry, Sachi. I'm
No,
like
it's so good. This is normally how long like my streams are, but I just know like
oh,
there are like highlight like there are specific parts that I think people will really want to watch, like to bring it
yeah,
down to maybe like 10 minutes, 15 minutes. So I'll
exactly.
go back through that, but I'll put your link to all your information whenever, even like once Barely Brown is like developed a little bit more and you have like a website for it or like the release information for it, I will go back and update this video and put that on
Aw,
there. So if
thank you,
anybody's
Sachi.
wants to.
You're great. Oh my god, I'm so glad I met you. We met at Sushi Stop, everyone.
That's so funny. We literally, I remember it so vividly. I don't remember like how that conversation started exactly, but I just remember us meeting in there, and
I
that
was
was
sitting next to you at the bar. And so I think that because we were so intimate, like it was
mm,
naturally talk to each other.
makes sense. You and I are both talkative too, so I just know it like
We gravitated, our angels gravitated to each other. That's
I
what I
think
think when I if I really click with someone, it's because my angels are clicking with them. If I don't click with someone, my angels aren't clicking with them. That's what I think. I really have a very strong belief in my angels. I'm like, they will push me through everything in life. And that's where spirituality comes in, is trusting in your angels and knowing that every single person has their own guardian angel and they will come to you in different forms.
I wish more people felt that though. I feel like there's a lot of people who don't.
It's wisdom. It's definitely like the wisdom you gain from life, and I think that the more adversity you face, the more the wiser you will be. And so, adversity is never a bad thing. Like if you're going through a tough situation, like embrace it. And I know that's really hard to say now. It's so hard, especially if you're in an abusive environment. Like it's the worst. But there's when you like a few years later, you will come out of it and you'll look back and you'll be like, wow, I'm really glad I saw the positive, the silver lining from the situation rather than being obsessed with the negative. It's very easy to just see all the negatives, like especially with my stupid school, like it was like all negative. But as a kid, I was like, no, it'll get better one day. Making a show,
And
like
that,
only
like,
if I
even
could.
the fact that you feel that is amazing. Like, you could see even that young that there is hope. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't always have to be that way, especially if you don't want it to be. Like, no matter
Yeah,
what your suffering is. And I do feel that very heavily. Very, or that was like a lot of like the first half of college for me was like a lot of intense suffering. And I think if I had like let it overtake me, I either wouldn't be here or I'd be a very different person than had I like at least always believed that it doesn't have to be like that. And I didn't always see it like every day, but like overall, I knew that like it didn't have to always be low or dark or sad or abusive or any of those things.
yeah. Someone told me like years ago that your life will never put you in situations that you will not be able to tolerate. Like it will put you in situations that you can really grow from. And it's up to us to be able to grow from that and not let it tear us down and then turn that into something more positive.
Mm-hmm. That's so beautiful, though. I hope like we all start to learn how to do that. I like that was like my hope with even just having this show, and us having this conversation. Hopefully, it helps facilitate that growth for somebody, even if it's not like you figure it all out today, but just like start thinking about that. Start thinking about like your own personal growth and what that means and how to go about that exactly.
I hope like kids everywhere will be inspired because I also think that as technology becomes more complex, it's harder to grow up in this world. Like we have like what, four social media like ways to connect. Like when we were growing up, it was like MySpace, Facebook, AIM, email. And then Snapchat came about like right around when we were like graduating. And then that was sort of like a new sort of like, oh my God, like how are we going to deal high school students with Snapchat? And now it's just everywhere. Like it's a lot of social media that we're being infiltrated with, and it's tough.
It is. It's weird also because like our generation, I feel like, is the last generation that saw the shift like
Yeah,
right before technology. So like I remember that vividly. It sounds like you do too, but also like what it's like to have it. Everybody after us, pure technology. Like that's the only thing they've ever seen. And I just like can't even fully conceptualize what that like that 4-year-old knowing how to work an iPhone or an iPad. Like
blows my mind actually. I'm
so
like
scary.
I'm like, "Oh my god, this is crazy."
It's weird. Like I don't know what, and it's just it feels like it's happening really fast too. Like I'm just like, what about?
Technology changed so fast in 20 years. That's insane, dude. Like,
I'm like so intrigued, but also like slightly worried about like the next
the
20 years.
future.
Yeah, because I'm like the 20 years from now, we went from like iPods, MP3 players to like now there's like the 17th generation of the iPhone.
We thought iPods were cool, dude. Like,
I thought it
iPods
was so cool. I didn't even have one at the peak of it when everybody had an iPod. My parents did not let me get one. So I just was
really?
like super out of I did not have one until like maybe like sophomore year of high school because they were just like, no. We had one computer that we all shared at one
Yeah,
point.
we didn't have a computer. We
Yeah.
one.
Yeah, we had one and it sat in like the like living space
And
area.
now everyone needs a computer. Like, every single kid needs to have a computer.
So I'm just super interested to see like how that changes, like obviously how we interact with each other, but also like how like kids interpret themselves because that's also like a lot to see really young, like being able to see what everybody's doing even though it's the highlights of what everybody's doing just sounds hard. High school itself was already, middle school and high school were already really hard just
It makes you feel
before.
like you're missing out on life. You're like, "Oh, why am I at home? They're having fun," like, stuff like that. I know
Yeah.
that's what I thought when I was younger and I was in college and I was like, "Oh, I wanna go to a party." I always felt like I was so glad for the pandemic. I was like, "Oh my god, I'm not missing out on anything."
I low-key felt that too. Like, I was like, technically, we all, because like I used to spend a lot of time inside, and I semi like I enjoy being social, but I also like being like homebody-ish. So I was just like, now we're all technically like, there's no, it's not bad if I'm missing something
Exactly,
because
like, we're
we're
all
all
at
at
home.
home.
It was
Exactly.
I For me, I'm really blessed to have enjoyed it a lot.
I get that. I feel
Yeah,
it.
I mean, both just graduated too, right? And so that was just a great way to sleep. I mean, I slept through the entire pandemic. My parents were like thought I was crazy. I would sleep for 24 hours. They'd be like, "When is she gonna wake up?" They would wake me up for dinner and I'd go right back to sleep, like
That's so nice. Like just being able to rest. I know my sister said it the other day, but like I know a lot of people would have mixed feelings about it. But I do think the pandemic was like good slash necessary in the way that it forced us all to slow down and just like spend time with ourselves, spend time with our people around us, decide like it forced self reflection or rest that I feel like we all really needed, even though for
it's
some of us.
pandemics are very normal. It's not normal for us, but in the history of the world,
Mm.
pandemics should happen every 50 years, and because of biotechnology, it was regressed, and I was honestly waiting for it my whole life. Since I
So
was,
scary.
like, 7, 8 years old because I read so much history and I was like, "Why is there not a pandemic? Like, that's weird." Like, I think when I was a kid, I read through so many pandemics that I knew was abnormal that there hasn't been a pandemic in the past 100 years. And
Wow.
so I was prepared. Like, when coronavirus was announced, I knew that this was made in a lab. Oh my god, I don't know if I should be saying this on live. But yeah, when COVID because I actually did research. I did biomedical ethics research at Stanford University, and the biomedical ethics community is very worried about what's happening in the labs because no one knows what's happening because technology has really progressed and people are being secretive now and they're not sharing information with each other and that's how we're trying to progress as countries. Like, America's progressing scientifically. We're all progressing scientifically in different ways because that's how like modern advancement works now. And to have like the most value in the world, you need to have the most scientific progression. And so, um, yeah, I knew that this was man-made. I knew it, and I think that a report from UC Berkeley professors said that they think that this was made in the lab because you can't find any of these DNA sequence in nature.
Weird.
So
Why
that's
do you think they would make it in the lab though? Like, why would you?
they're like experimenting with future technologies and future science that
Mm,
we might use in the future. Um, but we don't really like they're finding the next, the next cancer, like, the next vaccine that could save the world. Like everyone's finding their own cure right now. And so every single lab around the world is trying to do something different. And with that, like for example, when the polio vaccine was founded in America, that was huge. And that's the reason why America's biomedical industry has so much wealth because of that vaccine that they were able to give to the world. And actually, you know how it was founded? It was founded from a Black woman's cells. So like everyone's cells died in petri dishes, but because her cells were cancerous, they lived on, and they were able to find so many vaccines. Like there are Henrietta, her name's Henrietta Lacks. There are Henrietta Lacks cells in every single laboratory around the world, and her family did not get 1 cent for these scientific discoveries. Like the biomedical community never ever helped this family on the East Coast in Baltimore, and they stayed in poverty for so many years. And a book came out, a movie came out, and so hopefully they're getting money now for their great grandmother's scientific help, the discovery, whatever you want to call it. But yeah, so labs are competing with each other, just like everyone's competing with one another for like the next great thing.
but like, what are we competing towards? Is my question, or like, just the question for the world, I guess. Like, and I understand I'm a competitive person myself too, but just like I feel like, and I think that's involved in ethics that maybe we're not necessarily considering properly. Is like thinking about the long term result of what you're doing before doing it. You know what I mean? I feel like everybody's just doing things to just do them, to just like be the best, but like, what is the actual like purpose slash repercussions of the things that you're going to do? And I feel like we're doing a lot of things, and then like afterwards we're like, oh, that sucks that was the repercussion. Like even Twitter, and like watching the Social Dilemma and hearing the executives from Twitter and Facebook and all those people being like, yeah, we built this thing, we are now also addicted to it. We did not expect ourselves to be addicted, but we designed it so that people would be addicted to it. But then we just didn't register that we ourselves and the entire and I'm just like, but like really logistically, you could have sat down as a team and reflected on like, what is the long-term goal of this?
Computer scientists know nothing about the brain. They're computer scientists. They're building apps and they're building websites. So you can't expect them to know neuroscience unless they know an engineer neuroscience person, which there are in the Bay Area. I'm not lying. Like
Wow.
those people exist. But yeah, like most in like the Mark Zuckerberg, for example, didn't know anything about neuroscience. He was computer whiz, and it's sort of like he built something that did do good for the world. It did, but it did do a lot of bad. Everything has a positive, everything has a negative. Like I feel like even Barely Brown will have a lot of positives and there may be some negatives. And I
Hmm.
don't know those negatives right now. I'm like scared to even think about it, but I think everything you do will have different effects on different people. And but we just got to take, I guess, the positive from it. I mean, for me, Facebook was really bad for my mental health, and I see that the difference social media is doing, like they're taking away the like button, or like
Hmm.
YouTube, for example, took away the dislike number, and they only kept the like number. Did you notice that?
I
Look
did
at the
not notice that, but I'm honestly really happy they did that.
Go to YouTube, and they don't mention any of the dislikes. Like the dislike button is there, you can dislike it, but the number it won't show up. And so small things like that is making a big difference, I think. And so I think that now all of these companies are being creative in ways to better mental health because they know how much of a strain it's taking on our minds. Our minds are not equipped for social media at all. Like it hasn't evolved yet. But it will, our brains will evolve with social
Hmm.
media. We're just at the beginning of it, right? So our brains haven't, like our kids, for example, they'll carry that. evolution because we have been using social media for so long. We've been tolerating it. Whereas like our parents that gave us our brain, like they weren't using social media at all. You know, like we were the first to like have been exposed to it. And so our kids, I think, will come out better because of our interaction.
Wow. No, that makes a lot of sense. I'm really glad you said that because those are things that I think I got really mad at like society for where we're at now, which doesn't really make because you're right, like not necessarily everybody's thinking about that. One and two, like everything will have a good and a bad. I think it might be like Cancerian, but I just like I want to make everything as good as possible, quote unquote,
Me
whatever
too.
that
I really
means.
do.
But like it's just also not physically possible for that to happen. And I think coming to terms with that and accepting that is really helpful. It's going to
Yeah,
take some time, but like just accepting that like there will be consequences as well that you can't really see even if you try and prepare for everything you think you know. There'll be consequences to it, and there's not really anything you can do about that. Huh. That's really helpful for me because I've been really like trying to, I don't know, like micromanage like my own projects and be like, I'm gonna make sure that it doesn't have any like repercussion negative, but it's just not possible. Like obviously you can be mindful, but yeah, there's only so much you can do.
you should always choose the project that resonates with you the most. You know, like don't choose something that sounds cool and like stylish. Someone actually told me this. Do you know what the Red Hot Chili Peppers are?
Yeah.
So you know their guitarist Dave Navarro.
Yes.
So his cousin Dan Navarro, I interviewed for the Daily Bruin, and we talked for like an hour and a half too. And the last thing he said to me, and I'll never forget this, he was like, to be successful in entertainment, don't ever chase style, chase your heart, because what resonates in your heart will resonate in someone else's heart, and that takes you far. But if you
Mm.
choose style, you won't make it in the industry. And so Bradley Brown is a complete it's like my heart and soul, my entire heart and soul of my life, you know. And so I I can't control the negatives and the positives the project will result in, but I want there to be a greater conversation
Mm.
about racism in America, misogyny in America, objectification in America. Like these are things that we really need to slow down on because it's affecting little girls and boys at a very young age. I mean, I remember as a child, I was very objectified because I was the curviest kid at my high school. And it's like, why was I objectified? Because all the women in Hollywood in the media, they were being very objectified when I was 8 years old. And a report just came out from um, the UN, I think,
Mm.
that observed that being objectifying women in America and the American media makes it dangerous for little girls all over the world. And so I
Really?
experienced the dangers of it myself living in Fremont. And it's like when you're a kid and you're being objectified, you have no idea what to do. You know,
Yeah.
it's do they like me? Like, is this okay? Like, it's just really like strange because you're growing and you don't know who to talk to. And so I think that there needs to be a greater conversation, especially about that. And so yeah, I hope that Bailey Brown will open the conversation up and there might be arguments, but
Probably. Just like the nature of everything, there probably will be. Like, even though that's kind of like unfortunate, but at the same time, like arguments are the process of, I guess, deciphering
exactly.
that answer.
Yeah, it's like an open conversation. Usually, it's I think freedom of speech is important in America because you should learn, and it's a process of learning. You shouldn't shut someone off from growing and learning, you know. And so that's actually something a law professor taught me at UCLA.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah, yeah, he comes under a lot of criticism for saying the N-word in his law
Um,
class, and the way he defended that was, it's good to have these conversations, you know, although, like, a lot of I come under criticism a lot, um, I want my students to keep talking about this. Like, I'm not here to be mean to a group of people, like, that's not my intention,
mhm.
but, you know, these are documents that were in history, and I'm reciting the history. I'm not hiding the history, and that made sense to me. I was like, "Okay." I was like, "Okay, Professor Bullock, I got that."
Wow.
And I think that I think like agencies, for example, like Twitter, news agencies, they because they're private, they're not controlled by the government, they can take away our freedom of speech like how they did with Donald Trump.
Which is
But
interesting.
yeah, but like a public school, for example, like UCLA, they can't they have to abide by the Constitution. But I also feel like
They can
it's
try though.
yeah, it's a little bit iffy and yeah, there's a lot of arguments on it, but yeah.
Whose, I guess, brown experience are you gonna try and cover like everybody's brown, or like are you gonna specifically kind of focus more on yours? Because I know that there's a lot of different facets to it, but they're also very similar at the same time.
Exactly. They're very similar. They're so similar that everyone can relate to their struggle because we understand it as a whole. And
Hmm.
what the great part about my high school is that there were so many different cultures, like so many different ethnicities, and I can show how this narrative puts each and every one of us down in different ways.
Mm.
And I think that's really valuable. Like even someone from like Southern Europe is insecure with being Southern European because of, you know, early American history and how they had a huge ban on their immigration. And that was not that long ago if you think about it. And so I think that people understanding it from so many different facets, not just my perspective. And I'm so grateful that I've studied world history and I can bring everyone's perspective into it. Like, I have so many friends who are women of color and they share their insecurities with me. And I'm like, oh, okay, let me put this into the character. And yeah,
Mm.
I'm really trying to equal it out and show, you know, everyone suffering in different ways, but for the same reason. And another sort of way we have a hard time is education, like trying to, get this white elitism education. That's something
Mm.
that really affects us. And
At your high school, I assume that you took some history classes, right? Do
yeah,
you feel like they like were having like had your major then like really focus in on that? Do you feel like those classes like accurately reflected the world at large, or do you feel like you had to go to college and you had to major in history to get an accurate reflection of what happened? If that
when I
makes
was younger, it was not accurate at all, right? Because it was government, it was funded by the government, right? Our public education is one way and the entire state reads the same type of stuff. But once I got into AP Human Geo and AP World History, that's when the curriculum changed and it became well, I mean, at the time, it was very basic things, like AP World History was very, like it started from, like, the hunter-gatherers, and then it was building, but it was, like, a year long, and so I didn't really get to cover a lot, but that
Mhm.
it was in my AP World History class that I I made a book report about Malcolm X, and that was very pivotal to where I am now, like, I would not be here if I didn't read Malcolm X and wrote a report on it when I was 17 years old, and I didn't even read the whole book. I was so slow at reading. I only read half of the book, and I gave
Which
an
book
entire
was it?
the autobiography of Malcolm X by Alex Haley. Honestly, it's a really good book. That's like inspired me so much. Like I've drawn so much from, and I've related to Malcolm X at a very young age. I was like, oh, that's like I struggle with the same thing Malcolm was struggling with when he was growing up.
Mm.
And I think that every person of color can relate to his autobiography. I think it's a must read, to be honest. It's so well done. And Alex Haley is such a beautiful writer. And Alex Haley was persistent with Malcolm X. And Malcolm X actually didn't even want this to happen. He's like, I think you're an FBI agent. Go away. And then
Oh.
finally, Alex Haley, right before Malcolm X passed away, Malcolm started to like open up to him and started to give interviews and was like, fine, I'll trust you. And I think Alex Haley finished writing the book when he died, when Malcolm X
Wow.
died.
Wow.
Yeah. That's fate in itself, like seeing, that happen with Malcolm X, trusting in Alex. And allowing him to preserve his story in this fashion, and now inspiring us. Like, yeah, he's been very pivotal. And I remember my cousin also studied a lot about Malcolm X, but my cousin was introduced to it in a very different way than I was. Like, AP
Mm.
World History introduced me to Malcolm X. And also I think that because my dad grew up in America, he looked up to Malcolm a lot, and because Malcolm X is also Muslim, like, there was a lot of, like, relatability. But yeah, Malcolm X has just been figure. He's just in, like, my life. And
Who
so
introduced you to the book, or like what? It was like a section in the AP class that kind of like introduced that to you. Did you guys have to read that book as a section, or you just like heard
so
about him and then you started to feel like I need to know more about everything?
so my AP World History teacher had us do book reports at the end of the year, and she was like, "I'm writing 25 books on the board, and you guys have to pick one book." And so I saw her write Malcolm X as like number one. And then she wrote after, like, that was number one. That book, like, she wrote Malcolm X first, and then she wrote the 25 other books. And then she was like, okay, go choose. Jolted. I
Oh.
jolted to the whiteboard. I was like, Noor. And I remember, like, everyone else in the class was like, oh man. Wanted to do Malcolm X, which is a good thing. Like, everyone was sort of like, who is Malcolm? We've only heard about him. Like, we want to know more. And so I'm really grateful that I was able to make that my book report project of that year. And he's been he's been pivotal. Like, I can't make Bradley Brown if it wasn't for Malcolm. Like, I wouldn't even be here if it wasn't for Malcolm. Like, I relate a lot of my life back to him. So I'm really grateful that I chose that. And that probably was a guardian angel that helped me pick that book, and I was the one that got to do it. And I feel like out of the entire class, I'd be the one that'd be the most, I would be the one that gained the most out of it. And I did. I
Mm.
gained so much out of that. Like, he really has shaped the rest of my life, like all
Wow.
my decisions, everything. So I really hope Malcolm will be proud of Bradley Brown. I think he will. I think he would be very much
I think
impressed.
he will too. I think
Yeah.
he will, especially from how much you've like integrated your life lessons and his life lessons like into the story itself. Do you think like in the show you're gonna like kind of do an ode to him a little bit somewhere? Like
Oh
one
yeah,
episode
yeah, yeah, yeah.
have
Episode one has it actually.
okay.
Yeah, because my cousin Babur, he's very woke. He loves history just like Noor, except Noor loves white history. And Babur's smarter than that. Babur likes people of color history, particularly like Indian and Middle Eastern history because we're Muslim. So we like studying that a lot more than everything else. But what Malcolm X made me realize was study world history. Like, don't
Mm.
concentrate on one niche. Like, learn Latin American history, learn African history, learn Asian history. So I know random facts about China, but Chinese history actually weaves into the rest of Asia because they ruled almost all of Asia. Like, the Ottoman Empire they came from China. Like, the Turkic civilization all came from China. And so, like, we all feed into each other
Mm.
ethnically, and that shows how united we are, how our cultures are so similar. Like, even in Native American language, there is vocabulary in every dialect of Native American language that is in Siberian and Turkic language because they're very old languages. And
Wow.
yeah, it's just like the interconnectedness of us is so great. Like, we're a lot more similar than we are different. Like, we really are, and we just really need to come together on our similarities.
I think we're starting to. I think your show that you're writing is the beginning of also. Well, it's one of them. I know a few shows right now that are also trying to do that, but in particular, Barely Brown is like definitely a step in that direction and understanding that. And we're starting to understand it more. But I agree. Like, we are all so much more similar than we are different. Like, even from a biological standpoint, just so much more similar than we are different, let alone like psychologically or emotionally. But we all, I don't know. I wrote something recently. I think one of Chi TV's most recent posts were about fear. And in that topic of fear, it was talking a little bit about like where our fear of otherness came from. And just like now that we're all, I think separation and also like isolation and media hasn't really helped with that, has made it so that certain people, certain groups, certain cultures just seem kind of like far and distant and other like. And so we were like, well, this is foreign to me. Like I should be afraid of it because it's not like what I'm doing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The world is a lot. It's very small. It's not big.
Yeah.
Like all like Africa, Asia, and Europe are literally right next to each other, if not connected into each other. Like there's like I think Egypt is connected to Asia, and Asia is literally connected to Europe. Like
Yeah.
it's like right next to each other. And so it's like, but it's sad to see how like race has been such a big thing to divide all of us and pit each other against, one another.
I
When,
agree.
I think we're past our genetic differences. We're very much the same people. We really biologically we're the same, right? We all have the same medicine. When we're sick, we use the same types of Tylenol to get better. Like our
Yeah.
cells are literally the same.
Yeah.
Our sequences
They're made of the same things. Like we have the same things in a cell. Like there's not like certain people have one thing in a cell. Like maybe more of a gene turned on and off, but like we all have the same like basic components that make us all up. But I feel like we just are so afraid of each other that
yeah,
there's like a barrier of understanding almost in that.
we have a visual barrier, I think.
Mm,
Yeah, it's
that
all
makes sense. I
visual.
agree.
Yeah.
Oh, that's so.
It it's been a great conversation, Sachi. I can't wait to see how you edit this.
Oh, of course. You'll be the first to know. Like you will literally I will send it to you, of course. Nora's information.
I will ask this because I just thought of it. Because Barely Brown has not gone into production, can you cut out more of that story?
Okay.
Or if you wanna do, like a bigger video that you wanna preserve for the future, save that somewhere on your files, but
Okay.
don't publish it right now, and then in the future, possibly, you could publish that because I wanna protect I
It's
wanna
hush
protect this
property.
idea until I can get it. I think I do. There is someone in my dad's family that I'm going to meet. She's the first hijabi Hollywood director. Don't put this
Okay.
in the YouTube video when you edit it. But
Okay.
yeah, my dad's aunt's daughter-in-law is the first hijabi filmmaker in Hollywood, and she's done Netflix and Disney Plus content. And so my aunt and my uncle told me that they'll introduce me to her. And so she has I think I really hope that she likes Barely Brown. No one knows I haven't told her parents-in-law that about the project. They have no idea what I'm doing, but they
Okay.
said they'll help me out. So hopefully I know it's so random. I honestly didn't even know.
But it's so but it's fun. The world is small, like you said. Like you never
It's
know how close it is to you.
I honestly I knew someone. I was like, I have to know someone in the industry. Like I have, and it was within my family that. So hopefully.
Oh, it will. And like I look forward to hearing about like the progression next year, year after, like as you're developing it, like maybe 2 years from now we're talking about season two and how that's going and how you're developing that as well. Like I can't wait to see the progression of your story and how it grows and how Barely Brown's story and how it grows. Because those two are both
Yeah.
different but the same and also they're paralleling each other.
I already know season 2. I'm, like, prepared. I'm like, I just need that contract, and I just need to get into production. I'm ready. Like, I've gotten everything down almost.
I can feel it every time I talk to you. Like, Sachi, I've gotten like this next step done, this next step done. So I have a lot of respect for your hustle towards it too. Because I know that that's not easy for sure. So the fact that you're just
I refuse to give up. I'm like, I cannot give up on this. So, like, there's no way.
beautiful. I support the mission, but I always have, and I always will support the mission, of
Oh,
course.
you. Like, you're gonna be bigger. You like, next big TV talk show host. You should definitely do, like, podcasts.
Oh, I'd
My
love to.
my friends listen to, like, podcasts on Apple Music or,
Hmm.
like, Spotify. So I feel like you should definitely venture into it? This is great, though, and then just, like, take the audio and put it on Spotify.
Ooh, I like the concept. Okay, I
And
like
that
the.
and come up with a, like, a really edgy name for your podcast, like, I think a really famous podcast is, like, 2 Bad Bitches or something like that. I don't know, but it's,
I
like,
know.
it's really edgy and everyone wants to listen to two bad bitches.
That makes
Yeah,
sense.
yeah,
Yeah.
and you're great at this, like, I
Thank
hope you
you.
continue.
I love talking to people. I love asking questions. I love like understanding other people's perspective. Like that actually brings me joy. I'm gonna dabble around. I love the idea of taking this audio and turning it into a podcast. I'd never thought about that. I need to like brainstorm the name, workshop the name, but I love
Yeah,
the concept.
yeah, and then just take all of your interviews that you've done like this
Hmm.
and just remove the audio from the video and podcast it.
Ooh,
And
I'm
so
excited.
you have 2 things. You have the YouTube, and then you have the audio,
I love this
and
concept.
2 different ways to gain money.
Amen to that. I cannot wait for the creative life to fund life, you know, like
We found our way. We found our way after the pandemic. We really did.
facts. I'm really appreciative of that. Like the pandemic was hard, but it definitely like opened my mind to what is possible for
Yeah,
myself. And it sounds like it did the same for you, which is really cool. I know not everybody had access to that kind type of experience, I guess.
yeah. Our angels are guiding us. That's why we're here today. Our angels brought us together.
I fully believe that too.
I was
100%.
supposed to leave for the Bay Area today. Like, I wasn't supposed to go tomorrow. I postponed it to tomorrow because I don't know, I just felt like it, and
Wow, and then here we are now.
it works out perfectly.
What time are you going tomorrow?
I haven't even packed. I'm like,
Oh.
I know what I want to pack. Oh my god, I have to do laundry as well. Ugh. Yeah, I mean, I have my outfits for the wedding together. It's so cute. I can't wait for you to see pictures on Instagram. It's like the cutest outfits ever. My mom has such great taste.
Oh my God, I can't wait to see them too.
Yeah, it's like it's so cute. But yeah, I have my gowns ready for the wedding and the jewelry ready. I just need to get like sweatpants and stuff to wear around the house, I guess. And like a few more outfits to carry me for 1 week. Like I do not like going to the Bay Area, if I'm being honest with you. I try to stay away. Because
Why?
it's
Oh,
negative energy. Like, why would I want to go back to a place that was so bad to me? Like that's
that makes sense.
like, it did not nurture me at all. Like, my nurturing started once I moved to Los Angeles. Like, that's when I started to become nurtured in the environment, and UCLA has given me so much. Like, they've given me a scholarship. They've given me these professors. They've given me, like, Daily Bruin. Like, it was such a great community that they gave, but I had to be open enough to receive that, you
Mhm.
know? And so I actually was rescinded from UCLA in 2016, and I think that in 2016 I wasn't open to it. But when I went in 2018, I was fully prepared for it. And because of that, like all of this came because I was way more prepared in 2018. And so actually when I was rescinded, I didn't take it as a bad thing. Like my entire family was crying that knew. No one knew actually. My mom and my dad were so disappointed. I was like, just don't tell anyone. You can, by the way, don't edit this out. Keep this in
Oh, good.
the video. But yeah, like my uncle called me that night, and I only had one uncle and one aunt that knew I was rescinded. Like none of my cousins knew. Like no one else knew. It was just my parents and my aunt and my uncle that knew. And my uncle called me, and he was like, "Why aren't you crying? Like, how are you not devastated?" And I was like, "Because in my heart, I know I'm going to get back into UCLA, and it's going to be a better time for me. Like right now, it's not
Mm.
a time." And it made sense to him. And he was like, "Okay."
Aw,
And I
that's so.
and I and when I got back in 2018, $60,000. Like, they gave me $60,000 to complete my education. I did not get a scholarship in 2016. I got it in 2018, and so,
Wow.
yeah, I was so excited when I got that email. I was like, February 2018, I was, like, jumping up and down. I was like, "Oh my god, I think I got back in."
That's so cute, but you foresaw it though. Like I think like a future version of yourself already knew, like it was going to.
I knew it. I felt it, and I trusted in that feeling I had, you know, like,
Mhm.
I believed that I will come back at a better time, and I did. I was way better in 2018, and I had a good 2 years before the pandemic, and the pandemic allowed me to write Barely Brown, and so
Everything's worked out like in its own divine timing, almost like
so yeah, so if you ever have a setback, don't ever see it as a negative, never. Just,
mm.
like, trust in your future that this setback is actually good for your
Oh, oh, it froze. I don't know why. Oh, oh wow. Wait, I'll text Nor. Oh my god, it's so scary. Oh my goodness, it froze. Oh, yep. Looks like Nora got kicked out of the things. But I know that she has to. I know you have to do laundry and pack as well. Okay. I think she got kicked out. I'm not sure what happened exactly, but everybody, that was Noor. Noor is an incredible young woman. She is a UCLA alumni. She is currently working on her TV show, which we will see and hear more about in the next few years. 100% sure of that. She's an advocate for, hey Zane, what's poppin'? She is an advocate for social justice issues and social right or human rights as well. And she's available on YouTube, Instagram, all of the above. So definitely check her out and thank you for being a part of the episode. Zane, thank you for joining. What's up? How is your day going? What you got going on today? Can I ask advice on here? Of course, Zane. Go for it. What do you need advice on? What's troubling the soul today? Ooh, ooh, I'm so glad about that episode. Relationship, go for it. I love these type of questions. Go for it. What's going on? Who hurt you? Who we gotta fight? Okay, I'm not actually truly in all actuality I'm not that strong. So like I can attempt to fight, you feel me? But I don't know if I'm the person you really want to have. Trigger warning. Okay, I appreciate the trigger warning. I'll keep that in mind. Go for it. Oof. Okay. About 5 years ago, my girlfriend cheated on me, and when I asked her about it, she lied. Okay. And a few months later, she went to a club, told me that someone had just raped her. I didn't believe her, and I think it's because I was just hurt by her. Fast forward, her and I are having problems. We love each other, but she says she has a pit in her stomach because of the time I didn't believe her. And she says if it happens again, she doesn't think she can go with me, and that bothers me. What should I do? Oof, that's a tricky situation. Okay. Gian. So let's clarify. Let's break this into pieces. First, you've been dating this person for over 5 years, and in the very beginning, she cheated and she lied about it. Correct? Or did you just think she lied? Okay. All right. A few months later, when she went to a club, told me that someone had just raped her. I didn't believe her. And you felt hurt by her. It was because you think you felt hurt by her. Okay. So somebody actually did sexually assault her. That's also true, correct? You're having problems. You love each other. I have advice for you, but I'm not sure it's going to be what you want to hear or what you like. Like, it's definitely not going to be an easy answer. I can tell you that for sure. Of course, in relationships, right? It's important to work through things, right? Like, you shouldn't, it's never going to be 100% easy. Things are never going to be like smooth sailing constantly. You will have to work for it if it's something you really want, right? And you should, like, if you really value somebody in your life, you should put that effort in, you should make that work in. At the same time, I think there are certain types of things that happen in relationships that are just so traumatic for both parties that it might not be. You have a kid now as well. That's important, right? That does change my answer. Okay, well, no, not really, because how old are you, Zane, if you don't mind me asking? Are you like 20 something, 30 something, 30, 40, 24? Wow, you're very young. I'm also 24, so good for you, by the way. You have so much. Okay, answer this question for me, right? Do you want to keep having this conversation for 40 years? Do you think you would be comfortable having this conversation? These problems that you're describing that you guys have, despite loving each other, do you think it's something that you could have for 40 years and be comfortable with that? Or do you feel that you guys can resolve them at some point? Truly. Like, you guys could find a solution. Even if you don't know how exactly you'd find that solution, do you just believe that it is possible for you to? Or do you think that it would be like way too challenging to try and find a solution? Like, both of you tried, you always butt heads with each other when you've tried to find the solution. Like, where are you in that? Like, that realm? I have to know. Because, yeah, relationships are tricky, right? I'm a believer that I know you have a child, so I know that that obviously complicates things. Not compliment. Children are blessings, by the way. I don't mean it in that way, but just so essentially there's been this like on both ends for both her and for you, there's been this like breach in trust, like a break in trust. Happens to her again, she can't go to me. That's hard though. I mean, have you asked her if there's anything that you could do to help her feel more safe with you again? Here's the thing. I feel like certain things that happen in a relationship, particularly like cheating, like breaches in trust. I'm not even going to say cheating, breaches in trust, and then like trying to rebuild that, especially for certain scenarios. I feel like it's very, very hard to repair. It's not impossible. I think anybody who really want people who are both willing and open to understanding. So not only do you have to be open to understanding where you need to grow to better your relationship, she also has to be willing to understand what she needs to do to grow in this relationship, right? If one of you is not open to that, open to just understanding your role in what has created this breach of trust and how to improve in that, it'll be really, really, really hard to find a solution or to be able to ever like properly solve this where you guys have a healthy relationship. And I'm of the belief that there are so many people in the world in horrible relationships, like in relationships that they're unhappy with, in relationships that don't best suit them, that both of you have every single right to want a relationship that is actually helping you grow personally and pushing you to be better. I don't know if that means you are together or you're not together, but like if there's a lack of openness from one of you about like progression for it, because they there can be resentment, there can be like projections onto each other. If you both are not willing to like work with each other and kind of get very raw about like trying to find the root of that and how to mend it again, then it'll be really, really hard for you to be able to keep this going for like 10, 20, 30, 40 years. And then the question becomes, do you want to keep doing that for 10, 20, 30, 40 years? I don't know the full like story behind the relationship. I don't know like what love for the both of you looks like. Random stuff reminds her of it. She knows I'm sorry, but every time she remembers, she has a pit in her stomach. I understand that. I know somebody um, who went through something very traumatic at the very beginning of their relationship, and I think they are always have been still working towards like mending that again and healing that again. You know what I mean? But that's the thing for her, right? Obviously, you were sorry, right? And that's important. But she also has to be willing to forgive you. She also has to be willing to like move on from and grow. And I'm not, that doesn't necessarily mean invalidate her pain. You know what I mean? Or that doesn't mean like, okay, no, that's in the past. Like that happened 5 years ago. Let it go. Say, or that happened 3 years ago. Let it go. Like we're in a different, that's not what I'm saying. But I am saying that like in order for healing to actually happen, and you could like honestly bring her to this stream and what after it's over and let her watch this piece again. Therapists have said this. My friend who's gone through this had to go through this as well. I've personally had to go through this as well. You personally have to like learn to let go of what happened. If you really want to move forward, you're going to have to at some point. It doesn't necessarily have to be today, and nobody's rushing her on when that has to be done. But she, at some point, if she really wants to move forward, and if you really want to move forward, and if y'all want to move forward as a family, as a unit, like this thing cannot, for both of you, cannot like hover over your relationship, or it will suffocate it and it will crush it. Like, and that's just the nature of what it is. She's going to have to make an active decision to decide when something triggers her that she sees that you guys like reminding herself mentally that we are moving past this. We are working past that point. That was a part of our past that both him and I have learned from, but we aren't those same people anymore. Our relationship is not the same as it was then. And we're getting better. Like she's gonna have to tell herself that every time until you actually like really believe that and sit with that one day. Otherwise, like it will always weigh over the both of you and there will be no solution. Like if it just is constantly kind of sitting there and like dwelling and festering, it's just not going to like how can you heal if every time for the next, imagine being 44 and you're having this conversation still now. And also, do you think that there's not going to be things for both of you that both of you are going to do in the future that aren't going to hurt or annoy or upset each other? Like it's going to happen again. Not this situation, but just something that hurts the both of you, something that annoys the both of you, something that angers the both of you. That's just human nature. But it's about how you decide to move forward. So I think I would have that conversation with her. And I would say bring her to the stream and show her that portion and like let her kind of reflect on that. Potentially go to couples therapy, I would say, if you are able to, if you have access to, that's really helpful. Well, thank you. This helped. Of course. I would definitely recommend you guys need like somebody to like mediate and like help you guys work through that conversation with each other for sure. And I think best case scenario, you guys learn to heal together and you grow from this and this becomes like the soil that helps set a really solid foundation for a beautiful rest of your relationship. And not worst case scenario, because it's not necessarily a bad thing, but just you guys realize that she has therapy on Friday. Have you attended one of those sessions with her? Question mark. Her first one. Nice. Okay. Would you be down to go too? Or not like she should probably do one on her own. But would you be down to go together one day? Like maybe next week's session you guys go together? Of course. Nice. I think that will help a lot. Like it really will. Having somebody mediate that conversation for you guys will be super helpful. Super helpful. and at the very least, like try and work through it. But also, like, please do keep me updated. I would like to, like, I know this is super random, but I'm really glad you like hopped in here and like asked about it. And I definitely want to like keep in touch, with me. Like maybe the next stream, let me know how things have been going since going to therapy together. If that did really help, if you guys are starting to find that healing with each other, because I'd like to know. Mm, 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 mm. I really hope, and I send you both lots of love. I hope you guys figure it out. Yo, the poet, what's up? What's poppin'? I hope you guys, Zane, I hope you figure it out. I will. Thank you so much. Of course, Zane, anytime. Quick question. Why is the stream title Mahnoor? Well, the poet, funny you should ask. Today was a talk show episode. So, whenever this stream ends, you will see that in the very beginning, I was interviewing one of my very good friends, Mahnoor. On the weekends, we do our interviews. Wednesday is like mental health ish day. It's like mind and body routine. Usually Saturday, I'm going to do an interview with somebody else moving forward. And on my page, if you go there, there's a suggestion box. So if you guys have any recommendations for who you'd like to see in the talk show, please let me know. But I interviewed Mahnoor. It was a very good conversation. Yeah, so that's why she's the title. If you go to YouTube, you could see some of the last ones. I know someone named Mahnoor, so I was curious. Really? You know someone named Mahnoor? Where is she located, if you don't mind me asking? Because what if we were talking about the same person? That would be so funny. Very ironic. Ah, the conversation with Mahnoor was super good, though. Yeah, if you go to YouTube, you can see some of the past ones. It's the raw footage, though. It's unedited. I need to go back and edit it. They're located in Chicago. At least last I spoke with them. Oh, okay, yeah. This Mahnoor is located in LA or in Orange County in particular. So probably not the same person, but yeah, we interviewed Mahnoor. Last time it was Kalea. The time before that was Alina. The time before that was my sister. Next week we'll have Keisha. Keisha's super cool. She has a very powerful story as well. So I'm looking forward to sharing that with you guys. And I'm super excited in April. We're going to be interviewing Anthony Russo, who that's probably like the biggest quote unquote famous person I will ever have on this talk show to date. So I'm really looking forward to that episode. But one step at a time. The poet, how is your Saturday going? And Zane, also outside of all this relationship drama, if you're still in here, how was your Saturday going? What's you guys got going on? I actually, oh, that's so cute. Minora's just texting me about thank you for being on the show. That was a great episode. I'm really happy with the topics we covered and everything. I want to hear about you guys' Saturdays, your weekends. How have they been going? My Saturday is going pretty well. Great. About to go get a new monitor. Ooh, where are you getting this monitor from? Because I actually really need one too. Question mark. And the poet, your Saturday is going pretty well. It's cold because the central air doesn't want to work properly. But you did a lot of planning. Ooh, planning for what? And I definitely feel that about it being cold. I also kind of feel cold-ish. I was supposed to go. I actually got two different invitations to go out right now. I don't know if that's just like it doesn't it's just not sitting well with me. Like I have to get up and go get dressed up and like go out and like do all these things and I just like I don't really know if I want to do that. I'm actually totally fine with chilling and hanging out and talking with you guys. Like, but the only thing is that's like a little bit of networking. So I don't know if I should go do that. But I will see where the wind takes us. Just working out things I want for my rooms once I get my building. Also decided that I want to get a Prius once I'm all moved in. Ooh, what rooms? In your building? Are you getting like a whole apartment or you bought like a building? Are you like balling like that, the poet? Shoo. How? And also, you said I need to do some programming. Oh my gosh, this is so painful. My bra is like having a mind of its own. I need to do some programming, but it's cold and I'm waiting on a new chair to come, so it's a little uncomfortable to work. I get that. Shoot, I'm working. I told you, I think the poet last time. I work in my bed, so right now I'm in my bed, and it's so terrible. Like I need a desk space so badly. I'm trying to manifest it more than anything on the planet. Like a really nice workspace. You said you're gonna buy a 3 flat or a 4 flat. My goal is to get it this year. So is that like you're gonna purchase a flat with like 3 to 4 bedrooms in it? Just got a text from the client earlier as well. He's not impatient, but I need to finish up everything this week over the programming portion. Gotcha. Are you at liberty to share with us what type of project it is? It'll be a building with 3 or 4 units. Look at you, property investment. That's incredible. I would love to get more involved in property investment. So, mad respect to you for that because I know that that's not an easy um, to do. I've been like really starting to think a little bit more about that. And Zane, if you're still in here, I was curious where you're getting your desktop from because I also would like a monitor. Yeah, and I'm just curious where to look exactly. So it's funny because the person I am building an app for is a realtor. He wants a personalized CRM system, something pretty simple and chill. Oh, that's so cool. I've actually also worked on like helping people build personal CRMs. I helped a medical doctor build her CRM. Oh, that's awesome. Wait, what are your rates for app building? Do you work through an agency or do you like freelance? Question mark. And also, Zane, you said Best Buy and for sure. Oh, okay, cool. Best Buy. What monitor are you looking for? And like, why did you choose that monitor by chance? If you don't mind, if you don't feel like sharing, you definitely don't have to. But I'm just curious because I need one, but I don't even know how to know which one is the right one to choose. Mm, 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 mm. I don't know about going out tonight, guys. Like that just seems like kind of a lot. Okay, I have a company. Rates aren't officially finalized as I want more projects, but this is definitely severely as undercharged as it was early for me getting projects. Plus, the client is very busy, so sometimes I won't get a response from them to move forward for a while. Oh, okay. Well, I mean, the poet, I actually might be interested in having a conversation with you about your company because one of my other businesses and potentially this one too actually might definitely the other one needs app development for sure. I've just been really putting it off and focusing on other thing aspects of it, but if you aren't too busy with your projects, let me know. Maybe send me a whisper or something in Discord and we could talk about it because I've actually been considering that as well and I'd like to talk about a quote for you. Anything that's 144 hertz. What hertz means is how many times it refreshes a second. It's good for gaming? Question mark. 144 refreshes per second. Okay, got you. Got you. Images a second. Oh, what games are you like trying to prep for, Zane? Like, I'm gonna assume some pretty powerful ones, which is why you need this monitor. That's what I meant. Oh, okay, got you. Gotcha. Makes sense. I'm intrigued for gaming. How do you even know how many hertz your computer is? These are so many foreign questions. Like, I don't get it. Any first person shooter. Okay, got you. Yeah, if you want, not computer, just a monitor. Okay, got you, got you. Yeah, I need a second monitor really badly. I just like have no idea where to begin. Well, I probably need a desk before I need a monitor, if we're being honest. So I guess I'll prioritize that one first. And yeah, we can definitely talk. I'll probably say tomorrow because I can feel myself becoming kind of tired. So I have a feeling whenever I do end streaming, either I'm gonna go to sleep or I'm gonna go out to like the bar scene. They're like these three girls who um they went out to the bars. Yeah, they're at the bars right now. So I'm just not sure if I should go join them or if I should like put on sweatpants and like eat a snack and like watch a show in my room. What do you guys think? Or I guess chat with you guys. Should I go out? Should I stay in? What's the vibe? And I guess I go monitors will cost about 130 to 170. Okay, that makes sense. See, but again, I thought about it. I do want a monitor because I do stream fairly often. But I mean, even if I got a second monitor right now, I don't have a desk. Like I'm streaming on my bed. So like where would this monitor go exactly? So I'm gonna focus on the desk table first because I feel like that's probably priority. And then after that, I can like work towards the monitor. One baby steps. Oh, just oh, the poet, I see you. Nice. Oh, lovely. Perfect. I see you in Discord. Thank you. And a good cam is about $70. Oh, okay. Yeah, I definitely am gonna need like a monitor, table, probably a chair. I really want a better light set up behind me. Um, yeah, we're working on that one step at a time. One step at a time. But that's good to know about monitors. Do you guys have a particular like monitor type, like or brand, like an HP something, an Acer something, like a Lenovo something? Like what's your recommendation for good computer monitor streaming equipment? Is my question. Is my question. And then simultaneously, what do you guys think about me going out slash staying in? Like, do you think I should stay in chat with you guys in pajamas? Do you think I should go out and have drinks and probably a nice little snacky snack? Snackety snack, snack, snack. You said LG and Samsung is always good. Okay, nice. I'll look into them. You said, well, I have two cheap monitors that do well. I use an Alienware laptop since I tend Oh goodness. Since I tend to be running out around lots, though not so much during the winter, makes sense. The poet, do you mind reminding me where you're located? I feel like I ask you that kind of often. And yeah, those two brands are those two brands are always nice. You're in Chicago. Okay, yes, I do remember this. I do remember that. Two brands are always So I'll look into LG, Samsung, and Alienware because I need to find who. But I mean, I need a table first, and then the yawning is telling you to stay in. I agree. I'm a homebody, right? So if I could just like stay in all the time, hang out with you guys, like rest and stuff, like that would be my first choice most of the like 85% of the time I will choose staying in. But, networking is important. And there's a part of me that feels like, suck it up, suck up your bootstraps, and just like find the strength. I could sleep when I'm dead, or at least tomorrow night, or something like that. So find the energy and go out. I just got banned from my game I was playing yesterday. What game was it that you got banned from? Yeah, I'm also curious. League of Legends. What did you do to get banned from League of Legends, though? 14 days? Yeah, what'd you do? Who did you upset? Who hurt you? Oh my god. Simultaneously, is it so bad that I'm having this like very deep. I've been eating so well, like so healthily. While you guys are answering why you got banned, Zane, I kind of want Wendy's. That's so bad. Like my skinny bitch energy, the skinny bitch in me is like, no, don't do that. Like that's terrible for your body. But then the like everything else in me is like, shoo. I mean, why not? Wendy's. You feel me? It seems like a bad idea, but it also seems like a bad idea that I want to try. I know we have some coupons for them. Oh, guys, we might have to do that if I limit it. In 10 years now, I've only ever managed to get a few lever busters because of internet issues. What even is a lever buster? Like, that word went over my fudging head. And if you limit it to once a week, temptation is really just a treat. Okay. So would the temptation becoming a treat be that I only have Wendy's once a week, or I only have a temptation once a week? You feel like those that distinction? I just want to clarify real quick because I felt the loophole that I could use in my head and be like, yeah, okay, yeah, like as long as if it's a different restaurant, like every other day, then is it really like I'm following that rule? I said the word retard, but here in Texas where I live, me and my friends don't use it in a hateful manner, but I guess they don't like it. You only indulge in a temptation no more than once a week. Oh, I mean, have I been tempted otherwise this week? I actually don't know. I don't know. I feel like it's not a good idea, but I also like can't stop thinking about it. We'll figure that out. Yeah, my brother actually does that all the time. Okay, but like why retard? That's my question. It's just I feel like there's other words you could use that are less thing. I don't know the verb. Once a month. To be fair, you grew up saying it. Okay. My brother's kind of the same. Him and his friends say stuff like that all the time, and I'm always like, ooh. But I get that. Wow, they banned you for 14 days over that? Jeez. Not even like a warning or something? Or had it happen before? Me being on COD, one time I was playing zombies And because I'm black and the N word is in my vocabulary, I was like, N word, stop whining. Did they ban you for that? Or no? The guy got mad because he wasn't black and couldn't say it. Oh, why are you mad though? Shoot. I didn't get mad, but the guy definitely got all pissy. Yeah, but like, why are you getting upset? That's just, it makes sense why you can't say that word. I don't understand. You could say other insults. He could have insulted you in other ways if he was really that pressed to like fight you about it. You know? Interesting. And you said fast food once a month. Once a month. To be fair, the month hasn't ended and I haven't had Wendy's per se. I have had Mediterranean food, which I wouldn't necessarily classify that as fast food, you know? This is what I'm telling myself right now. Yeah. I wanted their like only you know what fast food is. Oh, I don't think I should be left with this responsibility. I really don't. You could tell when you're eating it. Ah, okay. I don't think what I had before counts, but I really do want like the bourbon. I'm gonna assume it's still there. I'll see. I'll see how I'm feeling about it and decide. But you said, yeah, Zane, I feel when something is a part of your regular vocab, it's hard to forget it's offensive sometimes, especially a word like that, which doesn't have a lot of interactions to recontextualize why it can be considered hateful. Dang, you were dropping hella fast. You really are a poet, the poet. Zane, you said true, like for real. You're not messing around. That makes sense. I try to be mindful of that, but also like, yeah, within reason. Again, like if you grow up with that, I understand why it's kind of like hard not to register it. I've been trying to do that with curse words a little more lately, like trying to force myself into saying alternatives to the curse words instead of like doing that, hurting people. Oh, oh. Wait, Zane, are you? Automod even has it. Automod even has what? You lost me on that one. I didn't know that was an offensive term until a while ago. Which the R word or the N word? It blocked my messages because of what I typed. We're talking about the N word here or the R word? Not the N word. LOL. GIP G G G G Gay P Gay I P G Jip. What is a gyp? Oh, you lost me. Maybe I'm just like I'm not hip enough for this. From gypsies. Oh, to gyp someone. Oh, see, I didn't even know that was a thing. I didn't even know that was a word. I think words are words until they're used aggressively or as a slur. That makes sense. I understand that. I agree. I think there's a show about that where they kind of highlight that a little bit. They were saying that like words really only become like are used negatively when like or words are based on context and intent, so if somebody's using the word in a different context, different intent, it doesn't necessarily have the same meaning. Like for women, bitch is one of those words right now where like depending on the context it can either be like empowering or like extremely offensive and hateful. I didn't know it was offensive until I saw something about it. Twitch has blocked it under their auto mod, it seems. Wow. I guess it sounds like a lot of people were using that because I had no idea that that was even a word. Like, if you had asked me, like, hey, Sach, what's this? I would have been like, it reminded me of Jiffy's peanut butter. That's what I thought. That's so bad. That's genuinely what I thought of. You said you agree, which is why you don't care too much about banning words per se. But some things like jip with gip, I took out of my vocabulary because the term literally is insulting and insinuates an entire kind of people. Okay, I think people put words on a pedestal and give the controversial bad ones more power. Hmm. That makes sense. But I mean, does it not make sense that people kind of put words on a pedestal? That's language. That's like the only way that we're able to communicate with each other. 100% this. Definitely agree about them giving more controversial slash bad ones more power, though. True as well. Yeah, it's such an important part of like what makes humans human that I understand why we get very sensitive about like what is somebody saying to me? What are they trying to like? Are they trying to offend me? Are they trying to like what is the purpose of the words that they're using? Is there a word that offends either one of you? Like if somebody calls you that, you would be offended? Oh, also my friend. Hello? What's up? Not much, just streaming. What do you mean? Okay. Yeah. Is it matter if I read it out loud? Fair enough. Okay, I can read it to you. Yes. Our little thing, our little shipping. I get you. Oh, they did send the number. I can read it out loud. Okay. 324 3684. Lovely. How long do you think it's gonna take to get here? Okay. Nice. These are gonna be a rough 2 weeks, but all right. No, yeah, I'm happy at least we did it now because I was like starting to freak out. I was like, this cannot be when you finish your CPA exam. Like that's just not gonna work, man. Love you too, friend. Thank you. Perfect. Thank you so much. Love you too, friend. Bye. That was one of my friends helping me order something. Sorry about that. The poet, you said not really, no. Nothing really offends you. Zane, you feel the same? Nothing really offends you? Nothing really offends me like that either. Like, oh my gosh, words just like, I don't know. I feel like people have called me so many, like, so many people have called me so many negative things. At this point, it all just goes in one ear and comes out the other. And I'm just like, oh, well, oh, well. Yeah, nothing really like offends me like that. I'm gonna assume, Zane, that the answer to this is no from the lack of response. Words themselves tend not to offend me, like you said, intent does. That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. Yeah. Yeah. Even like, yeah. Most things. I'm not very, or lack thereof. Yeah, exactly. I was gonna say, like, I felt people who like unintentionally say things, and I actually tend to be less offended by things that I can tell are unintentional than intentional. Because at least from my childhood, I understand that a lot of people grew up in like different types of ignorance, not necessarily like book smart ignorance, but maybe like social or cultural ignorance. So like when they say certain things, I don't necessarily treat it as like, oh, you should know this, just because like there's a lot of things that I don't know about that like I'm learning about now. So I'm just like, okay, well you don't know, let me tell you why that's wrong. Ignorance can be forgiven. Willful ignorance can't. Facts. I totally agree with that. I think the willful part is really key. I like totally agree with that. There's a lot of people who are just kind of like willfully being ignorant in the world. That's so funny. Oh, I think Zane's probably not with us anymore by his lack of response. What the poet on the phone. Oh, okay, got you. I was like, oh, he's left the chat. He's left the conversation. Fair enough. The poet, when do you sleep? This is like a very random question, but I just feel like you're like on all of my stream. You're like in all of my streams, no matter what the time of day is, like day or night. I've seen you in the like my early morning 6, 7, 8 a.m. streams, or my like sleep and I have a complicated relationship. I can tell. I picked up on that. You said I'm basically on Twitch 24/7. I actually think I picked up on that a little bit, just a little bit. How does that even work? How are you on Twitch 24/7? Like I don't understand. Okay. I just don't understand like how does that work? You just like play it in the background. Do you connect with people? Also, I know you stream a little bit, the poet. So like, oh, you're so good. Okay, question. Has you like kind of being there and being present for other people's streams helped to grow your personal streaming channel? Because I know you said you streamed a little bit. I haven't been able to watch your videos yet. If you want to give yourself a light plug and let us know like the time that you usually stream. Your girlfriend streams a little bit. Oh my goodness, what does she stream about, Zane? Is she a gamer? Is she a chatter? Is she something else? Or it has though. Like I said, I just be coming to enjoy vibes. So I appreciate your genuineness of just coming to enjoy the vibes, though. It's awesome that it's helped grow your streaming channel. You don't have a consistent streaming schedule. I stream sometimes whenever, if I do, lol. So basically, when you feel like it. That's nice. Hopefully, if I get a desk table and a monitor, I could like be watching streams and work at the same time. But right now, if I what it's all on one screen, like everything I do will be on the same screen. So I just get a little overwhelmed. So I have to be like committed to watching the stream if that's what I want to do. I do want to do more work with writing and co-work streams though. Ooh, that's fun. You and I could definitely do one in the future if you're down. Cause I like doing the co-working streams too. I get distracted though is the thing. And Zane, you didn't tell us what type of streamer your girlfriend is. What's she focusing on? Pomodoro helps. Ooh, I talk about that a little bit in Insights page. The Pomodoro method. She doesn't do it much anymore, but games are just chatting. Oh, okay. So she used to do it a little bit more, but she stopped. Oh, it just sent me stars. You might have to send it to me in like a whisper or something. It won't actually show the link. Yeah, you might have to send it to me. I'm sorry. I recently just discovered that my bank account is apparently negative right now, so that's fucking great. I'm gonna go figure out why. I'm so tired of this fluctuation in and out of fucking poverty. Oh my goldfish. You know what sent me into the negative? My Amazon Prime membership. And then after that, the Amazon Prime membership then triggered my phone overdraft fee. So then I got charged an overdraft fee. And then after that, apparently I got charged a $12 monthly maintenance fee. What are you guys maintaining? I don't get it. Like, what do you have to do? Is it not my job? Sounds like Chase. It's friggin' Bank of America. So basically, it was one thing that was $15 that has now sent my thing into like, oh, you got it too? Credit unions don't have those fees. Ooh, that's really nice. Those fees are typically auto charged, so I can get them reimbursed. I have Chime. What is Chime? This is new information to me. So easy to know if. Oh. Chime is my backup bank. Look at the app. I'm gonna look into it, you guys. You guys are giving some really good feedback because, yeah, this whole like going into the negative is just freaking dumb. I know Bank of America is set to um stop overdraft fees starting in May, so I just have to get my shit together like a little bit more time, but I might need to close the Bank of America account and just get like a Chime account or something cuz I don't like it's so frustrating. Oh, that's nice that they will stop. Yeah, this whole $40 overdraft fee bullshit can die cuz it's really just killed my bank. Now I owe them almost like it should have been just that alone, the overdraft 15 $13. I should have been only paying $13 for what I actually like own. Instead, now I have to give Bank of America $60. Just gross. Gross madness. Honestly, Chime is worth it. All right, I'll look into it for real. I really will. Ooh. I would just have to change literally everything. But I mean, maybe that's not a bad thing. Like, I'd have to change everything that all of my accounts are set up to. But yeah, this is ridiculous. Like, yeah, we might have to work on that, friends. We might have to work. I'm gonna look into it because, yeah, I'm tired of being in poverty, to be quite honest with you. I recently redid my budget and ensured all charges that weren't bank transfers were put on a card. Oh, that's good. You can get a fresh start with the monthly bullshit. You're right. It could be a fresh start. I just tend to be very avoid unnecessary random dips. Ugh, I would love that. I literally can't completely conceptualize a world where I do not have these random dips because they keep happening, but it would be nice to live in a world where I didn't, have random aggressive changes in my financial status. Maybe a fresh start would be good. The thing is, I just tend to be overly sentimental about things. I really just need to let go. Like in my mind, I'm like, oh, but I've had Bank of America for so long. So like, I don't want to like change things because, I've like grew up with but like, it's really stupid. And at the end of the day, they don't really care about mine. Everything is temporary. I'm like so sentimental. It's so bad. Like I have literally boxes on boxes of stuff, but they bend you over and fuck you with the fees. That's so funny. It's so true. This is okay. Me maybe a few years ago. That was literally I let horrible people. I dated terrible people. Let them do that too, for not fees, but for other things. And it was bad. So I just have this issue of being overly attached to things that I don't need to be overly attached to, and not letting go at the appropriate time. So you're right. Yeah, you're right. You're right. I know you're right. I'm gonna work on setting it up. Honestly, you guys hold me accountable. Next time you see me, be like, Sachi, is your chime? So how's your chime account going? Just hold me accountable so I actually do it, because I'll just be like, yeah, no, for sure, and then I'll silently go back to my sentimental bullshit because I'm all in my feelings. Even though Bank of America literally gives no fudge. You said do it now. It takes 2 seconds. Oh, the pressure. Oh, okay, see, maybe I was a little aggressive with the. I mean, I guess I did. I don't change everything today. One step at a time. Just sign up. Oh my gosh, that's crazy. You guys are really helping me get my financial status together. I appreciate you though. I appreciate you guys for looking out, because fine. You guys have convinced me. Fuck it. Fuck it. Maybe like 5 years from now, right? We'll like have a conversation on the stream, and I'll just be like, the streaming people helped me, like this stream community, the poet, Zane, you guys helped me get my finances on track when I was like in, just sent more incentive. Just sent more incentive. Wait, what incentive? All right, guys, we're signing up. Wait, what's more incentive though? What incentive was sent? On Discord. Whoa. I like this plan. Hold on. Oh, I see. You're gonna $100. $100. All right, you got okay. Zane's like, wait a minute. How do I get involved? Oh, Zane, you were like, shoot, I wanted to. You wanted everybody wants $100. I'm so confused. Zane, I'm sorry. Can I make one account with one email, one account with another, so then Zane, you could also get it? Is that a thing? It's fine. Okay. I just wanted to make sure everybody gets the bands. You know, you guys are somebody. At first I was like, oh, you guys just want to help me. Like, oh, after I deposit some money into it. Got you. That's so funny. I was like, you guys just want to help me, like fix my funds and everything. Nah, you just wanted $100. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. I know that that's not the real reason. I'm just joking. I appreciate you guys for at least like beginning this process with me, because I promise you I wouldn't have done it. All right, I'm signing up right now. We just I need to get my hair taken down so I can wash and deep condition before my friend retwists. Oh, you have twists. That's nice. Employment, unemployment. What do I put other? What do I do for work? Shit, that's a great question. I also wish I knew. I don't even know how to define the answer to this. Poet sends her some money on there. What is my annual income, nigga? I wish it was over fucking 90,000. How do you get paid? Other? How did I hear about us? A friend. What do I do for work? I genuinely don't know how to answer this question. You sound successful. Poor, send her some money on there. Two strands. You sound successful. I'm 40. Wait, I'm so confused. You guys lost me. So, oh, you're negative 40. Oh, I feel that. Oh, that's extremely relatable though. Do I just put other? I'm just going to put other. I'm in a class of my own, ladies and gents. I've agreed. I agree. Have you guys tried the credit card? Should I get one? Because I am in the process of trying to rebuild credit. The credit card is amazing. Really? My credit went up. Yeah, because I have another. It's a credit builder. So you just use it as a debit. Okay. I'm going to agree to it because I'm literally also in the process of trying to rebuild my credit score. Mm, I don't know if I'm ready for that. A self loan, just as soon as I heard that word, I was like, no, I don't know if I'm responsible enough for that. Worst case, I guess, like, um, I guess I could, like, get this secure credit card. Yeah, I don't think I'm ready for loans. Like, I don't think I'm responsible enough for that one. I'm sorry for myself. So you add money to it and then you use it and it pays off instantly. Yeah. I think this secured credit card is a good start. Worst case scenario, I will just cancel it. Like if it doesn't work for me. But I think this whole debit card concept is good for me as a human. Nice. I have. I set it up. Okay, I cannot get the app yet because I'm kind of locked out of my Apple ID right now. I'm not good with passwords. So I'd have to figure all that out. But when I do, app will be on the phone, bands will make her dance, and we'll be Gucci. Yeah, I like fluctuate. You can use it on your PC. Nice. Okay, cool. It's good for your response. See, I like the pandemic really, like I had a pretty good credit score and I was pretty good about maintaining it. And then the pandemic just really like ripped through my like funds, and I like my credit score significantly dropped just because I lost my source of income for a while and stuff like that, and I wasn't able to properly pay them off on time. And yeah, so I'm in the process of trying to rebuild it again so that I can in the future hopefully buy a house. But yeah, I'm gonna need, or even just an apartment. I'm gonna need to lift that shit. So I was actually talking with somebody about getting a secured credit card the other day. So I'm gonna just work. I'm gonna work on the credit building and hopefully, like, yeah. Oh my goodness, your credit score dropped when I was temporarily displaced. That's so crazy because it literally the same thing happened to me. I actually was also, I've just been telling people that I was homeless for like a month, but I guess you could describe it as temporary displaced. That's probably a more accurate term, but literally the exact same thing happened. LOL. They said the poet, can I have a grand? You know, shoot the poet, if you're sliding Zane a grand, could you just also slide one my way as well? I'm just if we're just like if we're throwing out funds here. Yeah, mine was about around like a 1.5 month period. I definitely get that. And right after a bunch of unfortunate events. I'm sorry, I mean, you definitely don't have to like share in full depth um what those events are, but I'm sorry you had to go through that. And you said once I'm big ballin'. All right. We'll be patient, I guess. I'm just saying if you want to throw it my I'm just saying if you want to throw it my way. I guess you technically after I've deposited something you indirectly send me $100. Well, not you, but like the business. So I appreciate that. I could pay my credit card bill this month, which is due tomorrow. I'm gonna fix it though, because I want a freaking apartment. Definitely want to be in a place to be able to donate like a grand on a stream. Hurry up and get successful, LOL. I've seen someone do that before. It was wild to me. Bro, I don't think anybody's ever donated anything on my stream. I don't even know what that like experience is like. I don't even know, and you guys can tell me the name, or you guys can tell me like if you have any feedback for my stream, like how to grow as a streamer, I guess. Please let me know if you're like Sachi. It's kind of boring. Or like, I don't know, but I just don't even understand how people like get other people to donate on a stream. Like I don't even understand like what that, like how to go about that. Yeah, I would love to learn. Like I'd love to become a better streamer. Even gain more subscribers, not just for the pure money aspect of it, but that people feel enough value in what I'm doing as a streamer to want to subscribe, to want to donate. But I just don't even know like how to do that or like how that works exactly. Wow, really? So if I just put on my page on the next stream on Monday that I have a donation goal and like I have a reason for it, like a donation goal to get a desk, because I want a desk so bad. I can't keep doing this on my bed. I love chatting with you guys, but just like then my back starts hurting and everything. It's not a conducive work environment. Then you think people would donate to for that? Wow. See, okay, but that's the thing, the liking the content, right? What like I don't know what is likable enough content. That's something I've been trying to figure out lately. Not that I'm gonna like change myself just for what people want, but just like what makes like a content a good content. One of the most interesting things about Twitch is that everyone sees your reactions and interactions with you in real time. That makes sense. Oof. All right. I'll try it. I'll try and set up a donation goal and see if just my natural charm, you know. So donation follows subscription gets an immediate response and an acknowledgement gets a hit of dopamine. Plus, the individual live has made an impact on the experience everyone else watching the stream. Okay. Do you think I should put a subscription goal? Because I have a lot of people who enjoy following the page, which I appreciate. But like subscribers right now, I think I only have two. And those two are major gems in my life. I'm so grateful for them. But I want to understand what would I need to do to like grow that community. So maybe I need to put a subscription goal on my thing. You think it'd be too much to have both a donation and a subscription goal on there? Oh, yeah. You can only cash out when you hit $100 though. Yeah, I have not yet reached that. I checked it recently. I have not yet reached that goal number yet, or the $100. So, well, I want both is the thing. So I don't know which one is like, if it's weird or like, because obviously money is important, right? Like it's really useful for what, like being able to do certain things, and like I obviously everybody wants to become more wealthy, right? But I don't want people to feel like when they come to the stream, because especially because of the nature of the community that we're building, for it to feel like such a money grab, you know what I mean? Like for it to feel like I'm just like, so hi, like give me as much money as possible, thanks guys. Like that's, I don't want it to feel like that at all. I want people to feel like almost inspired to be a part of the community in a more intimate way. That's why they subscribe, or like supportive of the mission and the vision. So that's why they donate. But I don't know how to like cultivate that exactly. I'm trying to like figure that out though. But if you think I could like, subscribing and tossing bits are just a part of the community. Okay. So I mean maybe I just need to like just ask more of what I want. Though mentioning it will definitely increase the likelihood of doing it. All right. So it sounds like I just don't ask enough for what it is that I want, which sounds about right. I tend to be very passive about things. So I'll just be more firm. Like, this is what I want. All right. The stream I do on Wednesday. Ugh. Oh, Zane. Zane. Oh my gosh, you're going to get me in my feelings. Hold on. Thank you. I appreciate you. I think you're the first person. Also, make sure to get your notifications set up. People love seeing the notifications. Poet, your turn. Um, I think because I'm not using, I think when I use Streamlabs, it does do notifications, show graphics and caption, automatically share screen video. I think it does, but because I'm using something because of what I was doing the interview on, this platform I don't think lets me do that. Done. Oh my god, you subscribed? The poet. Thank you so much. That's like you guys you're both like making my day, honestly. I'm like about to get in my feelings. Thank you guys. Like I'm getting emotional about it. I've been working so hard to like just create a community. I'm so grateful that you both feel like that this community is worth it, like worth your time, worth your energy, worth the support. And like, I appreciate you. I mean, I appreciate you beyond that, of course. Like, that it's not just because of that, but I appreciate, I know that that's, we live in weird times, you know what I mean? And everybody's like trying to save their dollar and everything. So, the fact that you like see something enough in me, I'm gonna cry. I'm gonna cry, but I also feel like I shouldn't cry. Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Nice. Oh my gosh. Oh, God. You guys are awesome. If you cry, he will unsub. Okay, no. Let me get it. I'll get it together. Everything's fine. I'm good. I'm all good. Everything's good. Everything's good. Thank you. I appreciate you for real, for real. Both of you. That motivates me to keep trying, keep working on it. And I will. Absolutely. 100%. I'm going to get better at this. I know I will. This is like the most committed to streaming I've ever been. Every week, pushing myself, whether or not I'm in the mood, whether or not I'm feeling it. And every time I do, I just always get so much like pleasantly surprised whenever I push it because I love doing it. I love chatting with you guys. Just sometimes I get very discouraged. So being able to come on here, and every time I've come on here, especially when I'm not necessarily feeling it or feeling myself, I've always just like been like so proud to see the community that we're building, or like been showered with a lot of love, which I'm grateful for, like truly beyond words. I won't cry though. I won't cry again. I started to tear up a little bit. I'm not even gonna lie to you, but I won't cry. I'm a big girl. Zane, I'm glad you joined in on the stream today too. Welcome to the gang gang. I usually say that, but I forgot. But welcome to the gang. I appreciate you joining the community. Oh my god, that's so crazy. Oh, thank you, the poet. That's so great. In a few years, when my financial situation isn't in the fucking garbage, you feel me? I'm just gonna like reflect back to this day and be like, the poet and Zane, um, they helped facilitate the beginning of my like fiscal getting my shit together. What time is it? Oh, I guess in Chicago it's probably like 8. Zane, where are you located? If you don't mind me asking, you don't have to share though. It's 9. It's almost 10. Nice. Yeah, it's about to be 11. Texas. Ooh, one of my best friends is in Texas. Where in Texas are you located, my dear? If you say Houston, no, Dallas, Dallas. San Antonio. All right, nice. Question. Do you actually really like Texas? Do you actually really like Texas? And the poet, do you like Chicago? I actually considered moving to Chicago for a little bit. What do you like about it? You love Chicago, the best city in the world, or at least the US. Oh, why? What makes it the best city besides you guys have it's the pizza. No, New York is the pizza. No, there's a Chicago style pizza, right? That's like its own thing too. Or is it a hot dog? Or is that Philadelphia? God, I used to be so good at geography and it's slowly starting to slip away. Okay, I figured it's hot dog and pizza. Oh my god, this is making me hungry again. This is making me hungry again. Chicago has some of the best food, multicultural. Ooh, I might have to swing through Chicago, make a swift visit there because this pizza and hot dog thing is really catching my attention. And you lived in Denver for a year and they wanted vaccine passports and all that other BS, so I left. My one of my best friends is actually moving to it might be Denver or Colorado Springs. I can't remember. That's weird. They wanted vaccine passports. What does that mean exactly? Like to prove that you've gotten vaccinations to go to move around? Ew. Well, I wouldn't have lasted there either. But I actually have been really considering moving to Colorado. Not now, probably in like a decade or something. Cannabis is legal there. Two of my best friends live there, so I just figure Colorado's a vibe. I know my friend who lives in Texas is really team Texas and wants me to move there. So we'll see. Definitely just I won't be where I'm at right now. I can promise you guys that one for sure. The Mexican food there is trash. Oh, I can only imagine. They're inland. They're like nowhere near Mexico. I understand they don't have the right influences. Greek and Italian though. Ooh, I've been having this obsession with like Greek Mediterranean food lately. I've had it like 2, 3 times a week, which is where I was trying to think about my fast food a little bit. And I was like, does that count as fast food? Because technically there's like lots of veggies and cucumbers and like stuff like that in it. Oh, Asian food, fire. Italian food is incredible. I haven't had Italian food in a while because I'm trying to get back to my like slim, thick energy. Like right now, I'm just thick, which is like cool and everything. That's like totally fine. Support all body types and everything. But like in 2018, 2019, I was like in my physical prime, trying to get back to that, which involves avoiding the Italian foods. Asian food is amazing. I was actually supposed to go out with them and get sushi. That was what we were gonna do, but like I'm here. I've given that ship has sailed. By the way, me going out, that ship has all types of sailed, and I really want to go to Wendy's, but we were just having this conversation about money, so people forgot how big Asia, Russian food, Korean food, Indian food. I love Korean Indian food as well, Chinese food as well, sushi as well. I have never had, to my knowledge, Russian food though. Interesting. Like, what is Russian food made of? And it's interesting how you consider Russian food Asian food. Yeah, like what even is authentic Russian food? That I've never seen before. Caught my attention. Bread and meat. Oh, LOL, LMAO. Ooh, maybe that's just what. Maybe like I'll look into it, and one of these days we'll do a stream, and I'll try and cook an authentic Russian dish because I've never. That's one of I've tried most foods from almost every ethnic background except for that one. Had North African food. I've had. I mean, maybe not South African. Maybe that's another one I could work on. I think I've had a little bit of Central African, Central East African foods. Definitely had European food. That ship has already sailed. I would like to go back to Europe and have authentic, like Italian food in Italy. That is something I have not done yet. I've had obviously the North American foods, Mexican food when I lived in LA. I've had that. Technically, a Russian guy is an Asian guy. When you say it, like it makes sense. I just never really registered that. Like I never fully like conceptualized that like technically Russian people are Asian, but it does make sense, like logically. Huh. I learned something new today. I'm gonna look into it. I'm gonna figure out what an authentic Russian dish is, and then we'll dabble with that and we'll cook together because I want to find out. One of my instructors at Insight, she's apparently dating a Russian guy. She says he's really nice. No, that's super random, but are you tired, the poet? About to go before the store closes. Oh, you're getting your monitor. Okay, well, have a great time. Get an awesome monitor. Thank you so much for everything today. We will literally chat like hopefully soon. I hope I see you in the stream again. Please, Zane, keep me updated about your relationship situation. Genuinely, I want to make sure like you guys are good, and hopefully my advice helped. Tell your girlfriend to come back and watch the stream. Not the whole thing because the beginning half is like that. I mean, the whole thing if she wants to, for sure. But yeah, I'm wishing you guys the best and I'm sending you both lots of love. And enjoy the monitor, getting the new monitor. And the poet, you said you're always tired. Okay, here's a thought, right? Right. The poet, you go rest, I'll go rest, and you go rest, right? Like we'll both go rest. I feel you on the workaholic energies. I'm literally the same, right? But I feel like we should like rest. You feel me? You picking up what I put down? Recharge, recuperate, reboot. You feel me? The whole shebang. I'm also gonna like ah, my air diffuser. The poet, how? What you thinking? Are you with the vibes? Also, actually, oh. The poet. Are we resting now? Yay? Nay? Oh, you didn't hear it? Okay, that's okay. Oh, I was basically gonna say that, or I basically said, so like, I'm thinking, right? Like, what if, hear me out, right? You go rest and I go rest. Because I feel you on the workaholic energies, right? But I just feel like, what if, we do it as a team effort and you go step away from the computer programming. It will be there tomorrow. Okay. Okay, well, what if, hear me out hypothetically, what if business finances? Okay, but then you could go to bed early. And then what if you wake up early? Also, how do you do your bit? You know what? We'll talk in Discord, honestly, because I want to understand also how you do the business finances too. I need help. I need like advice, outside advice for sure. That's amazing. I wish my body did that. My body is literally like, nope. It just chooses what it wants each day. Like some days we get up early, some days we get up at 11. Oh, that's incredible. I wish. I literally wish my body did that to itself. Did you just like train it to do that, or does it just like do that on its own? I like mornings, honestly. Okay, question. If you like mornings, why are you staying up till 1 a.m.? I'm confused. I tend to sleep late, so I wake up sluggish and can't enjoy it. Okay, the poet. This then reels me back to my original sentiment statement about what if, right? Right now, you go rest, and I go rest, and you go rest, and I go rest. 1 a.m. is early. No. I feel no, no. I feel like we're returning in a circle on that one. 1 a.m. is actually, in fact, the middle of the night. I mean, I understand. I literally do the same thing. 7 hours of sleep is solid. Yeah, but you just said you tend to sleep late, so you wake up sluggish and you can't enjoy it, which I do agree 7 hours of sleep is solid, but then you could rest now and then wake up like at maybe 8 or 7:30 and ease into your morning rather than like have a little, do you have a little morning routine? Is that a thing? Waking up at 5 a.m. or 6 a.m. is early. Exactly. I need to wake up. Holy mother fudgers. Ooh, nice. No solid morning routine. If I wake up early enough, I stretch and work out and drink tea. That sounds like such a beautiful system. That is a morning routine. Then I tend to get a head start on work if it's a weekday. Okay, just imagine, right? You could do the same thing with that on the weekends too. Just I'm just throwing it out there. I'm not telling you what to do, of course. You're your own adult. You could do whatever you want to do. I'm throwing out an idea. that may or may not be brilliant, but is throwing out an idea. Dang, weekends, I wake up early all anyway. Always. Oh my god, the yawning. I'm so sorry. It has a mind of its own. You said you woke up at 8 a.m. today because you went to sleep at 2 a.m. If I get 5 hours or less, I feel really sluggish. I feel like kind of the opposite. If I sleep for more than 8 hours, I start to get really sluggish, which is probably not healthy. But like, truly, if I sleep beyond 8 hours, then I start to like, the day is way slower. I'm like, and I guess less than 3 hours, I start to get headaches. But like in between 4 to like 8 hours is like a pretty solid sweet spot for me. I feel like, based on my understanding from this conversation, I feel like we're just talking about personal development and growth and all that jazz. It's really making me feel like my Wendy's concept is just not the best idea. It sounded like such a good idea, though. So good. So good. That's what oh my god! And then you just really reignited that for me. That's what I'm saying. That sounds. I have mad respect for how Wendy's just changed their fries, low key. Like the new fries, that's fire. Like they're way better than McDonald's. And I mean, McDonald's is not great, but they're still way better than them. So I have a lot of respect for it. I'm low key craving the fries and a little something, but I've been eating really, really, really well lately. So I just feel like if I did that, I would just cancel out everything I did, really. It closes in like 40 minutes, so I don't know. Or I could be cost effective because we definitely just talked about my negative fucking bank account and I could make something here. You said you baked fish. Ooh, god damn, that sounds super good. Mushrooms, bell peppers, wow, jalapenos today with some angel hair pasta. Okay, chef poet. Okay, I see you. That sounds amazing. Where is my bowl? Question mark. Like, where do I sign up for my portion as well? Hmm. I would eat that if I had access to that. I don't really have. So about that, lol. Oh my goodness. So it's a no. It'll be cold by the time it gets there. I know you're right. This angel hair pasta concept sounds fire. Fire. I want a part of it. But instead, I had this idea because we don't have any pita chip or we don't have any tortilla chips, which is kind of annoying. But we do have like some naan bread. So I'm thinking about going downstairs. We have a few avocados. I'll chop everything up. I'll make myself a little guacamole, and then I'll make like the naan, cut them and bake them, and make like my own little like naan-ish chips, and just eat like the naan chips with guac. Naan is so good. Yeah, that might have to be the move, man, because we don't really have that much food in here right now. We don't even have tortilla chips. I'm super hungry, but I think choosing the healthier option over my deep internal craving for Wendy's is probably the move. And I know, like, right now it hurts, but tomorrow I'll feel so much better knowing I didn't give in to my temptations. Because, okay, I probably haven't had fast food this week, but I have ate out already, like earlier this week. So I don't need to do that really. Like, I really don't need to in terms of like cost efficiencies and such. So we'll just like make do with what we have and be cost efficient or whatever. You said non and avocado is good, right? I feel like that's a healthy alternative, right? Okay. I try to make sure I cook because I don't want to waste money. Yeah, see, I try to make sure I cook as frequently as possible, but sometimes like the car will just drive itself to places like just 1 minute I'm thinking to myself, be responsible fiscally, all that stuff. Next thing you know, I'm in the parking lot of a Mediterranean restaurant. I don't really know how I get there exactly. Then, next thing I know, I'm walking out of the Mediterranean restaurant with a bag in my hand. It all happens so fast. Like, yeah. But I'm trying to become a little bit better about self control. So, you said you got about a bag of tomatoes. Get a bag of tomatoes and white onions to use still some potatoes and chicken. I pre-spend my money on paper first. What does that mean? Oh, so you write it out on paper, everything that you're going to spend. Yeah, the budgeting is a real issue that we are currently working on. I have been getting a lot of advice on budgeting. I think it's harder because of my income was fluctuating so much before in the past 2 years, but it's starting to stabilize a little bit more. I'm starting to get a more consistent grip on my income and what's involved in it. So it's making it easier to plan. But before, I had no idea how to budget because I was like, I don't even know how much money I'm going to make a month. Some months it's zero. Some months I make like 800. Some months I make like, like it was just so hard to like budget off of because I had no idea. But it's starting to like neutralize. I really should just go grocery shopping. That would probably be the more effective version of cost spending. Like just wait and I'll save things. Yeah. Uh, it's getting better though. It's getting a lot better. A lot better than it was a few years ago. And with it, oh my god, with it, hopefully my budgeting gets a lot better too. No, it will. It will. I'm gonna put in the work. But I keep yawning. It's definitely like 11:30 almost. It's been a long day. Every day is a long day though. And I still have to go make my guacamole because I'm gonna go make it from scratch. I only get bad with spending under extreme conditions. See, my stomach being hungry and I've been working all day is usually the extreme condition that creates overspending. I'm pretty good about money management for almost everything else. I will not spend on random things unless I know I can afford it, but food has really been like it's been getting that's my vice. That's the one where I'm like, oh fuck it, how am I supposed to like if I don't eat, then how are we supposed to move forward? Like, like I have to eat in order for things. So then I will spend on that and it's not good. So I'm trying to reel that in and force myself to be more disciplined about it because sometimes, especially if I'll work the whole day and I'll be out the whole day and then it'll be like 8:30 p.m. when I'll be like, bro, I don't want to go home. I don't want to have to chop anything. I don't want to have to put it in the oven and wait 45 minutes. Like that just doesn't sound like a vibe. I just want to like open up the box of the food. And that's why I like Mediterranean food is because even though it's fast, it seems a little bit healthier. Meal prep. That's somebody did tell me to start meal prepping. So I'm gonna work on that. It's kind of hard because I live with my parents. I live with my mom right now. So just like really doing anything for myself is quite challenging. Like if I make myself food, my brother will eat it. Or like if I leave it in there, like he will eat it instead of making his own food. Even my office area, he like dumped all his shit in my office area because he views it as like a like excess space stuff, which is really frustrating for me because it's also my workspace. Like my mom doesn't like she gets a little bit like I think jealous or frustrated sometimes when I meal prep just for myself, even though I can only afford food for myself right now. Um, but then like they don't like the foods that I like to eat that are healthy. So it's a weird environment. You said hashtag mini fridge, LOL. Shoot, that's gonna have to be on the donation goal then because because I don't have one of those yet. I think it'd be really helpful. I'm really just trying to save to move. I just feel like that's the best option. Be right back, okay. It's okay. You can go do what you have to do. I think I'm gonna go make my guac and naan, and then I'll just stream again on Wednesday because I keep yawning. I'm super tired. I'm gonna I'm gonna message you on Discord. Thank you everybody for watching. Message.